Alright, here we are. Just jumping straight into Fall Guys. So, I will fully admit I have already played today. So I've got most of these already. Yeah, I did some, we're just gonna jump into squad celebrations. Yeah, I was already playing Fall Guys today. I played with a few other people. So, a few weeks ago, when I got the achievement to get the squad gold, right, to get the, win a game with a party of 3 or 4. When I did that one, I think I said at the time, like, you know, 3 good players can carry a team if there's a 4th bad one. Playing today, I've realized that 2 good players cannot carry a team if there are 2 bad ones. Except in the squad celebration, man. We were doing terrible at the normal squad game, and then we went into squad celebrations and won freaking 3 games in a row. Like, it went pretty well. Yeah, we're just jumping straight in. So yeah, I've already been playing a little bit today. You know, it's Fall Guys. Who cares? But yeah, it's just a nice... you know, so this week's for in chat, we originally only had 2... I think we had 1 news story until yesterday. And then yesterday we had 2. Or no, we had 2. We had... Because I think the Minecraft news broke earlier in the week. But we had, like, nothing. And then yesterday, it was just, oh, hey, guess what? San Diego Comic-Con started. Here's all the news from that. And then today was the MCU panel, which we will be talking about. But it went from, like, no news to just a shitload of news. All at once. So, yeah. And then plus we've got a bunch... Oops, I did not mean to do that. Oh, I didn't realize I'd stole his tail. Why is that guy... Why was that guy showing with a party mark above his head? I'm not in a party, alright? Huh, that was strange. Okay, whatever. So yeah. It was like there was no news, and I was like, oh, this week we've got a bunch of TV to talk about. And video games and whatnot. So it's gonna be a very light week. And then at the last minute, boom, San Diego Comic-Con. So now there's a bunch of fucking news, man. There's just so much news today. And a lot of it's MCU stuff, and it is today. So, you know, we're just going to jump straight into it. We haven't even finished our first round, but why not? So, our first news story is Mario Strikers got its first big update. So, Mario Strikers, the Mario soccer game that I did not buy because I didn't give a shit about. Because it's Mario freaking Strikers. I know some people are excited for it. But yeah, so yeah, just all of a sudden that dropped today. Or that that happened on like Monday. They announced that, hey guys, guess what? Mario Strikers is getting a free update. And yeah, so the new things in the update is Shy Guy and Daisy, which the fact that the game didn't launch with Daisy is already pretty like mind-blowing, right? Like that should already be like pretty apparent, like, huh, that's kind of strange, you know? I hope my teammates catch on to what I'm doing. But yeah, so that was already pretty strange, right? Like, why was Daisy not in the game? Shy Guy, I mean, I kind of get Shy Guy, but still, we have clearly found the breaking point of, like, Nintendo, hey, here's a game that is, you know, probably would be like a $40 game with a $20 season pass, that we're just going to charge you the full $60 for instead, right? I definitely feel like we've hit the breaking point on those types of Nintendo games, right? Cause yeah, so the update, it got us 2 new characters, Daisy and Shy Guy. We got a new outfit, the night outfit. And we got a new stage, the desert stage. Again, I didn't pick this game up. I really... Wow, I came down here to play defensive, but yeah. Yeah, no, I don't care about this game. You know, if it was like a $40 game, I probably would have picked it up. But at a full $60, we have definitely hit our breaking point of freemium Nintendo games. Most people just seem to be kind of done. I mean, I know some people will say, well, oh, if you don't like them, don't buy them. Yeah, I didn't buy it, okay? But what about those people who have waited since the Wii for a Mario Strikers game? Like, they have, ooh, jinxed. Oh shit, jinxed. They have the right to be excited for this, you know? Like, but it's just Nintendo, and that's every game. Not every game, but I feel like every other game Nintendo does works like this, right? Where it's, oh, we're gonna give you a free game now, or we're gonna give you I know people, and you know, some of them I don't think, right? Some of them people give way too much shit for. Specifically, I'm talking Animal Crossing. I'm actually just mainly talking Animal Crossing here. Animal Crossing, I stand by, was a finished game that was just kind of underwhelming, you know? It was finished. It was just kind of an underwhelming finished. And I feel like people give Animal Crossing way too much shit. And then there are others. Oh, is it Kirby Star Allies? Kirby Star Allies was a finished game. It was just kind of an underwhelming finished game. They're fighting with each other. So yeah, you have the right to be disappointed by these things, but I don't know. And again, I think Star Allies is fine. People give Star Allies way too much shit. It's fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's fine. You know, so I don't know. And the other, it came up later in the week, but we'll talk about Switch Sports next. But yeah, this definitely adding in these 2 new characters definitely doesn't do anything for me, right? Adding in Daisy and Shy Guy, right? Like, if I wasn't, like, I'm already not gonna get the game, but definitely this wasn't gonna convince me to get it, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, if I had grabbed that guy. Where is the last yellow? I'm the last blue. Where is the last yellow? Okay, I'm gonna focus here for a second. But yeah, no, so this... yes, I'll take a win. Yeah, that's my 4th win of the night. And I am counting these. I'm putting these on the record tally. Because they are technically squad games. But yeah, so this just doesn't interest me. Right? Honestly, I just don't really care. Like... sure, I know Nintendo can come out here and be like, yo, we're gonna do these things, but I'm good. Honestly, personally, I'm pretty good. It's right. The game just didn't appeal to me, and this definitely isn't gonna. Honestly, the only way I'm gonna pick up this Mario Strikers is if it ever goes on sale for, I don't know, maybe 30. I definitely wouldn't. I don't think I'd go 40 even, but maybe a 30. 30 sounds like a good number. But yeah, it's just, whatever, I don't care. It's just another forgotten online game. It's not really too big of a deal. Next up, so Microsoft put out a thing talking about Minecraft's terms of service, and they are updating terms of service so that you cannot run a Minecraft server with, like, anything blockchain related, so anything using Web3, or any NFTs. Because I could have totally seen someone run like a crypto cash Minecraft server, that sold NFT skins, right? And you could get an NFT skin, and you alone had the right to that NFT Minecraft skin that only you could use. But, and right, it's on the blockchain. But nope, they've put a complete block to that. No blockchain stuff in Minecraft. No Web3. No Bitcoin. Because, yeah, this would have been something that could have easily been exploited. Either by other people or by Microsoft themselves. Right? Like, if Microsoft wanted to do NFTs, Minecraft would be the perfect platform to do it in. But nope, nothing so far, so I'm kind of glad. You know, I think this is a genuinely, like, good statement to put out there. That nope, no blockchain, no NFTs. Because, yeah, and we read that post a few weeks ago, around E3. It was the post E3 in chat, where we read that post about the guy's, like, future of gaming thing, where it's like, oh, you mine obsidian ore in Crypto Crash, and then take it over to the Elder Crypto Scrolls to get obsidian armor or whatnot, and it's a fucking nightmare. And yeah, so fuck NFTs, fuck the blockchain, right? It's literally just pure, NFTs are fucking pyramid schemes. They're no different. Fuck them. I'm glad Microsoft's taken a statement against them. Because, yeah, this is something that could have easily been exploited. So, yeah, this is a good thing. But, yeah, fuck NFTs. If you want to learn more, I recommend the Folding Ideas video. Either that or something by Internet Today. They've both done good coverage, but the Folding Ideas video was fantastic. Of course, currently, and I mean, there are other companies like EA and Square Enix specifically. Square Enix is definitely investing in blockchain. Like, they full up admitted it. And, like, the same, like, within 24 hours of them announcing it, the, Bitcoin had one of its largest drops in, like, the past year. And it's continued to tank since then. So, yeah, fuck Bitcoin. Fuck NFTs. Next up, so yeah, this happened, I think, yesterday. I might be wrong, but they announced a Switch Sports update. Now, the update hasn't come out yet. It doesn't come out for a few days. But yeah, they announced a Switch Sports update that will be adding in, let's see here. It adds in leg strap support. So if you're playing soccer, you can now fully play it with the leg strap, right? That full support's been added in there. So I know for people interested in that, that's a good thing to add. It added in, what else? It added in new volleyball moves. I have no idea what that means. Really? Like, that could mean any number of things. New volleyball moves. So yeah, that's whatever. Volleyball is definitely not my favorite mode. Of the new modes, I definitely prefer badminton over volleyball. It added in new Pro League ranks. So in the Pro League, right, which you unlock at a certain point, there are now S-tier Pro League ranks, and I think there's some sort of, like, infinite Pro League rank. That sounds right in my head. But yeah, so there are new Pro League ranks. So for anyone interested in those are now there. If you want to go from bowling to, you know, bowling S plus or whatever, that's now totally an option. And, anything else? Oh, room IDs. So if you want to play with people online, well, now you have room IDs, which makes playing online so much easier. You know, okay. Honestly, again, now I did buy, again, we're talking about games here that are kind of disappointing. I did buy Switch Sports. And I thought it was, again, I was mostly in it for the bowling. And I played, over the span of a few weeks, I played a lot of bowling. Like, seriously, I played so much bowling during those few weeks. It was really fun. But then, you know, I kind of eventually I just fell off, and they were doing like, it's a very grindy game, because there's like all these new costumes, but to unlock these new costumes, you have to play several rounds of any sport, or you gotta sit in a 10-minute bowling match, and it took forever to get what you wanted. It really, like, it was kind of it was basically a freemium loot box system. Are we a team of 3? Did we lose a team member? Shit, that's it. Okay, we can't win this. I mean, I'm gonna try. You better believe I'm gonna try. But let's just say the odds are against us. But yeah, so I don't know. I fell off of Switch Sports, and I have had no desire to play it since. Like, if I'm just being completely honest here, like, I'm sure I will come back once they add golf. But this update didn't add golf. It just added a bunch of, like, minor things that oh, shit. I fucked up there. This update just added a bunch of minor things I care a lot less about. Oh my god, they're hitting it just perfectly. No, we're out. But yeah, so I didn't. The update doesn't come out for I think like 3 more days. But I'm in like no rush to. Or it doesn't come out until the 27th. I'm in no rush to do it. Honestly, like, this doesn't get me... None of this stuff is interesting enough to get me back into the game. Like, what I'm really waiting for is the Mario Kart DLC. You know, that should be any day now. The last DLC was, what, in fucking April? May, even? We got ourselves a fanny pack. I haven't actually checked the costumes today. I already own one of them. Inverted. This, honestly, I am so, like, if I'm ever tempted to get one of these DLCs, it's this, man. I am so pissed. The Godzilla costume showed up in the game. I either didn't have the crowns to get it, or I missed it or something, and then it never showed up in the shop again. God, if I had known, I would have, I had over 100 crowns. And I just didn't spend them. I hoarded them like a dragon. God, I would have spent way more crowns if I'd known differently. God, $250 for... The owl was the first costume in the game, and they're charging $250 for it. Claiming that it's $1,700. Fucks right off. God, I fucking hate this game sometimes. Oh, that bundle. Oh, the sushi bundle changed. At least, is that this? Unless the sushi bundle's still there. Okay, whatever. These still suck. All the freemium stuff. I mean, again, every once in a while you'll find something decent, but for the most part, yeah. Whatever. I don't even know why I check. Honestly, I don't even know why I checked the shop. I think I have to do some normal squads for one of these. Yeah, I gotta do some normal squads. But yeah, I'm just waiting for the Mario Kart DLC. Like, come on, just to freaking announce it. I'm way more interested in that than anything else Nintendo has to show. Like, seriously. And it's just gonna be, like, London Loop and New York Circuit or whatever. But hey, we might get Daisy Cruise Ship, we might get Waluigi Pinball, and those are gonna be really cool. Next up, just a quick one. Papers, Please is getting a mobile port. I think it's coming to iOS and Android. I might be wrong about that. but I'm pretty sure it's coming to iOS and Android. I don't know. I thought Papers, Please was already on mobile. Maybe it was like exclusive on like iPads. Maybe that's why. You could play it on like an iPad. You just couldn't play it on a cell phone. But it's finally getting a cell phone port. I am surprised Papers, Please does not have a Switch port. As far as I know, it does not, because I would totally pick that up. Because, yeah, I've played Paper. Fuck! Why am I always the one who doesn't get a teammate? Why am I always the one who doesn't get a teammate? God, I hate this. I don't even know why. I'm not even really trying. But yeah, Papers, Please is coming to phones. Because Obra Dinn, Return of the Obra Dinn has a Switch port. But Papers, Please... And again, the Switch has a touchscreen, you know, it would make sense to have it playable, to be able to do it, you know, kind of like a tablet version. But no, nothing so far, so... I guess we'll just have... I mean, honestly, if they're putting it on mobile phones all these years later, I see no reason they wouldn't put it on Switch at some point. No. Because as far as I know, it's not on Switch. There is a small chance I'm wrong about that. But I'm like 80% sure it's not on Switch. So, yeah, just, you know, put it on Switch. That would make sense. You know, that'd be cool. Switch port. Yay. Because I don't know, I might buy it again. I don't know, I might end up like Portal. Like, I know a bunch of people were buying Portal again once it came to Switch. And yeah. But Papers, Please is a really good game. So is Return of the Obra Dinn. Return of the Obra Dinn is also pretty good. I don't know, I probably like Papers, Please more, but it's because I'm technically better at it, because Return of the Obra Dinn's like a mystery thing, but yeah. Yeah, whatever. And then that takes us into our big story tonight. So, this week is San Diego Comic-Con, and so Marvel did a whole thing at San Diego Comic-Con. So there were a few leaks. Originally there were a few trademark leaks, but everything that was in the trademark leaks was talked about in the show. So we're just gonna talk about we're gonna talk about it as it happens. The first thing, so yesterday they did an animation panel. They did a panel talking about their animated shows. So in that animation panel, there was the I Am Groot series, which, you know, it looks cute, I guess. I mean, for like a bunch of, for like 5 to 10 minute shorts, they're gonna be cute. You know, I'll watch them in like half an hour and, you know, go about my day. They're not the biggest thing in the world, but it's fine. They don't have to be the biggest thing in the world. They can be just a bunch of cute little Groot shorts. Honestly, I don't expect much from them, but they might be, they could be cute, you know? You know, they could be cute. I don't know. A lot of people are very cynical on this, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because Groot is a little overexposed, and I kind of get that. But I don't get the cynicism towards this. There was Spider-Man. So there's the Spider-Man show, Spider-Man Freshman Year. And the way I understand it was pitched was that it's basically like the origin story of Spider-Man, of Tom Holland Spider-Man getting his powers. Right? That was the whole point of this animated show. Based on what we saw, that doesn't fucking look like what this is. Cause he's got, so in this, from the, right, this little, it's not even like a trailer. Cause the show doesn't come out until 2024. So it's still a ways away. But from these like little screenshots and whatnot we got, or like the little like stills and concept art, it's, so, I think the concept art, it all looks fine. But this being Spider-Man's origin story makes no sense. One, the costume. Right, like the costume we see in Civil War and then later on in Homecoming, right? Like it's definitely a much more, not stylized costume. Like this one has like a varsity jacket on it, which I think is a good design for a Spider-Man costume, and it's definitely gonna be in the new the Spider-Man 2 on PS4, like for sure. But yeah, so it's definitely not like a the designs aren't terrible. But like that, it looks off, right? For being an MCU in canon show. That doesn't sit right with me. The other thing is, we know Harry and Norman Osborn are in this show. And based on, right, Spider-Man used to be Peter Parker used to be friends with Harry Osborn, but yet he has no idea who Norman is in No Way Home. They showed off a list of villains. Scorpion is one of the villains, which we know Scorpion is in Scorpion technically shows up in Homecoming. He just doesn't have the Scorpion costume. Right? It's the same guy, he just doesn't have the costume yet. He's the guy, he's got a Scorpion tattoo. He's the one Michael Keaton is selling weapons to on the ferry. And who at the end of the movie asks Vulture, like, do you know who Spider-Man's true identity? If I did, he'd already be dead. Right? Like that guy. So yeah, that makes no sense. Doc Ock in like a very classic Doc Ock costume is in this show. Which makes no sense. Right? Like, how is Doc Ock in this thing? When, right, like, they laugh about Otto Octavius' name. Did they lower the amount of XP you get? I swear you used to get, like, 26. And now I only get 20. Did they lower the amount of... They might have. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, so But, like, okay, so, as, like, a Spider-Man origin story... Makes no sense, right? But as right, we just watched Spectacular Spider-Man a few weeks ago. It was pretty decent. I liked Spectacular Spider-Man. And so as another Spider-Man show, a la, the 90s Spider-Man show, Spectacular Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, probably some other one I'm forgetting, I'm fine with this freshman year thing. Right? If this was like its own, like, just another part of the MCU multiverse or whatever, I'm actually super interested in this. I like the art style. I like the character designs. Right? Like, I think they made Harry and Norman Osborn black, but it, like, finally Norman Osborn's haircut makes sense. And yeah, like I said, the Doc Ock design is very classical. It's not entirely like one for one pulled from the comics, but it still looks very good, right? I think the show visually looks really good. So yeah, I'm interested in that. The only other thing I can think of that they showed off at the animation panel, and there might be other stuff that I'm forgetting, the only other thing I can remember, though, is X-Men 97, which is an animated X-Men show that takes place exactly where the 1997 X-Men show left off. So I have watched the 90s X-Men show, the original, right? I don't think I ever saw the ending. I watched maybe the first, like, 2 seasons. I think it's all on Disney Plus, so I could go watch it if I wanted to, and maybe I will at some point. But yeah, and they're picking up right back where they left off. The one thing I do find very interesting, as part of that, because I guess at the end of the 90s X-Men show, Professor Xavier leaves the X-Men. So with this show picking up, Magneto is going to be leading the X-Men. That's a great idea. Like, honestly, that's something that really yeah, there's elements of that in, like, a First Class or whatever. And, some of the other X-Men properties. But really, I'm actually really excited to see that, because I know that's happened several times in the comics over the years. Magneto leading the X-Men. So I'm actually really interested to see where that goes. I'll have to, because again, I did watch the original show. I'll have to rewatch it at some point. Also with Spider-Man, they announced Daredevil's going to be in it. Okay. That's a great idea. I really like that idea. We'll see. We'll see what they do with that. Again, I think just make it something out of canon. Just make it something. It's called the Multiverse Saga. Make Spider-Man freshman year something in the multiverse. It'll all work out. Plus, I don't really want to see Tom Holland's origin story. That's the other thing, is I don't really give a shit about Tom. Like, what they do in Civil War and then the 3 Tom Holland movies, more than suffices for me. I don't need to know, right? I already know how Spider-Man got his powers. I've seen fucking Tobey Maguire do it. I've seen Spectacular Spider-Man do it. I saw the 90s Spider-Man do it. Right? I know it's like killing Thomas and Martha Wayne. We all fucking know how it happens. Oh, speaking of that real quick. Okay, just real quick off topic. So there was also a DC panel. I'm not talking about it. The new Shazam trailer looks decent. You know, I liked the first Shazam. Okay, whatever. There was a new Black Adam trailer. I think I didn't watch it. But they also announced that Zack Snyder will be guest starring in an episode of Teen Titans Go. Because, you know, the Teen Titans Go movie made fun of Batman v Superman a bunch of different times. So Zack Snyder being in an episode of Teen Titans Go sounds really funny to me. But yeah, just real quick mentioning that. Yeah, that's funny. Shazam trailer looks good. You know, I have full faith in Pony Smasher. You know, I'm sure it'll work out great. But that takes us to our main event. So today, just a few hours ago, Marvel had their San Diego Comic-Con big thing. And now, admittedly, going into this, there was a lot of division about, like, how much were we really gonna see. Because D23 is in a few months. And the last D23, that I remember anyways, was, like, they announced so much shit at the last D23. I know COVID happened since then, but I always remember D23 being like the big Marvel events. So I was actually kind of surprised. Like, there was, so going into this, I was like, you know what, I'm sure we'll get like Wakanda Forever, new She-Hulk trailer, that makes sense, a few other things, right? But like, I wasn't expecting too much. The amount of stuff they gave us, holy crap, man. And now, so some of this stuff did leak. Like, some of these titles did leak. So that makes sense. Right? Why we got this much. But holy shit, they fully went into it. So let's just go in chronological order. You know, I'm just going to straight up go in chronological order. It makes the most sense. Let me just straight up find the timeline. Actually, you know, while we're sitting here, I can just pull it up. I can open Twitter. Twitter.com. Now we're gonna get an encoding overload for a moment, but okay, so I've got that pulled up. So I'll show the thing in a minute. So yeah, the first thing, let's just talk about. They announced that Wakanda Forever and also the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special. I think I don't remember what it's called, and they didn't talk about it here. Will be the last projects of Phase 4. So far, people have been kind of disappointed in the MCU Phase 4. And this, part of me wonders if part of the reason they're doing what they're doing is because of the overall feeling of, not inadequacy, but just kind of, Phase 4 has felt kind of underwhelming. So what if part of the reason the MCU is ending Phase 4 at the end of the year is because, right, boom, now we're in Phase 5. That kind of, it doesn't reset expectations, but being in a different phase of the MCU definitely changes expectations. The only weird part for me is that this phase isn't ending with, like, an Avengers movie. I know technically Phases 2 and 3 didn't end with an Avengers movie, But, you know, they had these big crossover events, right? Age of Ultron, Infinity War, Endgame. So I just find it kind of weird that that there is no big crossover in Phase 4. Phase 4 is presumably all setup, which, again, is fine. Phase 1 is mostly setup. But it has that big crossover at the end. And I know COVID plays a lot into this. Things would probably be very different if it wasn't for COVID delaying everything by like a year. Right? Things would definitely be very different. But, you know, we're just gonna take a little break from Fall Guys. You know what? Yeah, we're just gonna take a quick break. We get my... Okay, good, we got those. We're still missing something, though. 88. We'll finish the season pass in like a week or two. We're so close to being done. I wanted to check these. Okay, we just gotta do duos. Okay, so, oops. Boom, there we go. Okay, so let's start off with Phase 4, shall we? F11? Yep, there we go. So Phase 4. Oh, come on. We're starting off with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. So they talked about this show, or the movie. They've recasted Cassie Lang, so it's not the girl who was in Endgame. It's instead the girl from Detective Pikachu. Her name is Catherine Newton. Catherine Newton. Yeah, she was Lucy Stevens in Detective Pikachu. I'm pretty sure that was the journalist. That sounds right in my head. I don't know. I kind of don't remember Detective Pikachu as much. God, I'm still disappointed that we never got a follow-ups to that, because it is one of the best video game movies. Jonathan Majors came out as, right, who's King the Conqueror, and they also announced that the guy who played Darren Cross in the first Ant-Man movie, who was actually, Darren Cross really is kind of a nothing character, but the actor's actually pretty decent. I remember him in some other stuff. I don't remember what it was. I just remember him being decent. He will be reprising his role as Darren Cross, but not as Yellow Jacket, but as MODOK. Because at the end of the first Ant-Man, he gets shrunk down to the quantum realm. So yeah, he will be reprising his role, and he will be MODOK this time, though. I know MODOK is one of the goofiest Marvel villains ever, right? The Egg is a DC villain, right? So yeah, no, he's goofy as hell, and I don't know, they try to take him seriously, but whatever. They also talked about how most of the movie will take place in the quantum realm, which I think it was Ant-Man and the Wasp that was shooting on like a 3D soundstage, where it was like all like 3D projections. It was something really neat. But yeah, that movie's already been filming. We didn't see the weird goofy logo from the production stuff, which, if you remember that. But yeah, that's February of next year. Then we have Secret Invasion, which we know Samuel L. Jackson's coming back as Nick Fury. Colby Smulders is back as Maria Hill. I'm presuming the guy who plays Tallow from the original Captain Marvel and also Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm assuming he'll be back. And, you know, it will be about the Skrulls invading Earth, right? Or I still think, because they kind of made the Skrulls good in the MCU, so I always thought it would make sense for them to use the Dire Wraiths. And, you know, hey, maybe it's time to introduce Rom Space Knight. Perfect opportunity right here. Dire Wraiths, Rom. Come on, Marvel. That'd be like, seriously, I would love that. As like I know they'd have to pay more money for him, but that would be so cool to get Rom Space Knight. But yeah, I don't know. Secret Invasion I know Secret Invasion as a comic is not super beloved. It's a damn obvious assault when you really think of it. But after watching that the 2011 Avengers show where they do Secret Invasion, it was decent there. You know, it was pretty decent there. And the MCU has taken some terrible The MCU is really weird because it's taken some bad comics and made them good, and it's taken some good comics and made them not as good, right? Mighty Thor is an amazing comic. Thor Love and Thunder was just okay. Meanwhile, Civil War is a fucking terrible comic. Like, it's so bad. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. It's so bad. But the Civil War is one of the best MCU movies, if not the best. But yeah, it's just really weird for me that this is a Disney Plus show. And then Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Volume 3. We're pretty sure Adam Warlock is in this, which Adam Warlock is a pretty pivotal character. I mean, specifically in the Infinity Saga, but that's... in Infinity War, the comic. Infinity War, Infinity Gauntlet, and Infinity Crusade. But yeah, so maybe he'll be in that. I mean, James Gunn did announce that this is going to be the last Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Right? This is kind of the end of their story, so we'll see where we go from there. It's about Rocket, and I want to say he said, like, Rocket's going to be, like, the saddest creature in the universe or something like that. There was, like, a little... a lot of these things had, like, brief little, like, previews and whatnot. Like, we know for Ant-Man, Scott Lang has written a book about, like, how he saved the universe from Thanos, which is very funny. We also know he has a podcast from Ms. Marvel. God, I love Paul Rudd. He's so good. And yeah, that's fucking great. Just great in character stuff. Guardian, right. We saw a little bit of preview thing, and we see Baby Rocket Raccoon. So yeah, it's going to be his story. But yeah, that's May 5th, 2023. Echo. I know some people people didn't really like Hawkeye. I thought it was fine. Like, it wasn't anything amazing, but it wasn't bad. But I did like Echo in Hawkeye. I thought she was one of the more... She had potential. Right? I'm glad she's getting more stuff. Of course, we know Charlie Cox's Daredevil is going to be in this. We also know Vincent D'Onofrio is probably going to also be in this. Probably, anyways. But I feel like she's got a lot of potential. Honestly, the MCU has done a great job at taking characters nobody gives a shit about and making them interesting. See Iron Man. Right? And so many others. See the freaking Guardians of the Galaxy. See the fucking Eternals. Okay, I know people don't like Eternals, but you know what I mean. So yeah, I think this could be good. I really do. I feel like a lot of people are underestimating this. I am kind of interested in this. And that's summer 2023. Loki season 3. Or season 2, I mean. So part of this, at the very end of the show, they officially announced... So whereas Marvel Phase 1, 2, and 3... was called the Infinity Saga, right? It was all leading up towards Infinity War. Marvel's Phase 4, 5, and 6 are called the Multiverse Saga. And Loki's the show that introduced the multiverse, so it getting a second season makes sense. It's currently filming. I know we talked last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, about, like, the problem with MCU shows, about how they were all kind of filmed within the same, like, 6-month period. And that's why a lot of these shows share the same problems. And I really hope that, like, they do, address that. That, yeah, sure, a lot of these shows share the same problem. But, now that a lot of these have come out and Loki's currently filming, they will fix these problems. And I have a lot of hope for She-Hulk. Really, if anything's going to change it, it's going to be She-Hulk. Which they did give another trailer for She-Hulk. It still looks very good. We know Daredevil's going to be in it now, which I want a court case between Jennifer Walters and Matt Murdock. That's what Daredevil being in it, fine, whatever. Matt Murdock being in it, way more interesting, right? That's what I give a shit about. But yeah, She-Hulk still looks great. I'm super excited for it. It's the showrunner is the person who worked on Rick and Morty. I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she wrote the funniest shit I've ever seen, Pickle Rick. She wrote that episode, so I hope She-Hulk's really good. I really do. The Marvels comes out July 28th. We just got our first little hint at what the show's going to be from the end of Miss Marvel. I really do hope we get another season of Miss Marvel after what happens here. I really do hope we get more, because I did really like that show, and I like the character. I like Miss Marvel. I love the actress. She's fantastic for the role. I want this to be really good. And, you know, seeing more of Spectre as well, who was in WandaVision, you know, that's going to be cool. I wouldn't be surprised if she might also show up in Secret Invasion. That would also maybe make sense because of how WandaVision ended. I don't know. We'll see. Next up is Blade. You know, it's interesting that this was one of the last reveals of, right, the last time Marvel did one of these big events. They ended it off with Fantastic Four and Blade. But yeah, Blade is a year and a half away. Mahershala Ali. I know Blade is it's heavily speculated, pretty much confirmed, that he's at the end of Eternals. So maybe something like that. The Black Knight, you know. I don't know. You know, admittedly, I've seen the first two Blade movies. I think it was the second Blade. That's just a very weird movie, but it's a lot of fun. So I'm sure it'll be good. You know, people really like Blade for a reason, right? I mean, he had movies before any of this MCU stuff, so there must be something there, right? I mean, eventually they went off the rails because I think they made 4 of them, but yeah. I don't know. I just don't know much about the character. Admittedly, I don't really know much about him. Ironheart. So we did get a new Black Panther trailer, which is how the show ended, and we'll talk about it at the end, I guess. But we see Ironheart in that. We literally see the Ironheart. I have read a little bit of Ironheart, Riri Williams, and she is she is a member of the Champions. So I've been, and you know me, I started reading the Champions. I don't know. I know some people really do not like the character, whereas like Miles Morales caught on and was like a huge success. Ironheart really wasn't, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, I definitely think she has a lot of potential. And like I said, the MCU can take stuff that's not good and make it good, so totally possible. Next up, Agatha Coven of Chaos. So it used to be called House of Harkness. It's now called Coven of Chaos. So whereas I think Echo has a lot of, right, like I think Echo could be really good, Coven of this, I just don't care about. If I'm being completely honest, Agatha House of Harkness just doesn't appeal to me. I'll watch it, of course, because, you know, I'm a slave to the MCU brand at this point. But, I'm just not too interested in it, honestly. It doesn't really do much for me. On the other side, though, we have Daredevil, Born Again. They are bringing back a Daredevil. He's getting his own Disney Plus show. And yeah, it's Daredevil, Born Again. We know, right? Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio. We have no idea what the canonicity of the Netflix shows are. We have no idea. They might be completely canon. They might not be canon at all. Really, everything's up in the air. But we're gonna find out some way or another. But Born Again, that's a very interesting title. You know, like that's a very meta title, but I have hopes that it'll be great. You know, the Daredevil show was fantastic. I do want Jessica Jones and Luke Cage to come back. Iron Fist, who gives a shit? The show, you know, I don't mind. I've read a bit of Heroes for Hire, the comic. It's actually pretty decent. You know, it's a good lighthearted story, and yeah, I thought it was fine. But everyone was right about the Iron Fist TV show. Jessica Jones, though, I did really like, and I liked Luke Cage. Of course, Mahershala Ali is the villain in Luke Cage, and he's now Blade. Next up, Captain America New World Order. So technically, New World Order is the name of the first episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, which is very interesting, right? That's also the name of the movie. I feel like this title got leaked forever ago. I feel like we've known about this title for like 6 months now. But I'm excited for a new Captain America. A lot of people are getting on Marvel's shit right now for like how much Marvel is really trying to force Captain Carter to be a thing, and nobody gives a shit. I'm fine with I'm fine with the What If episode, and I'm fine with her being in Multiverse of Madness. But they announced that What If is getting a few more episodes. Right? What If is not a bad show. It's just you need more creative ideas. That's really what's holding back What If. But they're doing another Captain Carter episode of What If Nobody gives a shit. There's an Odin episode. We're getting I think it's a Shang-Chi episode of What If. Yeah, I don't know. What If looks whatever. Marvel Zombies is getting a full show, which, it might be good. It's TVMA, so it's a mature audience show. So that might be good. And, new characters are going to be in it. Kate Bishop's going to be in it. Shang-Chi's going to be in it. It has potential. It has potential to be good. And I feel like giving it a full story, like fleshing it out fully, might end up with something good. But yeah, even if What If isn't great, I do want them to keep making more of it. Because eventually they're going to hit gold. Right? Whether they just fucking give up like Teen Titans Go or Riverdale and just go completely off the wall. I actually kind of want that. I don't know. We'll see. And then finally, we have the Thunderbolts. So you know how I said, right, every phase of the MCU should end off with a big crossover movie. Phase 1, Avengers. Phase 2, Age of Ultron. Phase 3, Infinity War and Endgame. But Phase 4 didn't have anything. But Phase 5 has the Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts are basically like an evil Avengers. Basically, Baron Zemo, and it's a couple other, Baron Zemo, Ghost. I'm sure there's a few other villains whose names I don't remember. They are members of a team called the Masters of Evil. But what ends up happening is they then go in and pretend to be a hero team called the Thunderbolts, right? But they're pretending to be heroes, but then actually, become villains on the side. But like they're doing the villainous stuff on the side, but then eventually I think one of them ends up actually really enjoying doing the hero stuff, and it's a whole thing. But I have a lot of this is the crossover movie I want. Right? I think this will be really cool. A sort of Dark Avengers big cross. I mean, we've been kind of setting up this Thunderbolts because you have Madam Hydra, who recruited John Walker as a U.S. agent, which might have something to do with this. This is the Thunderbolts is also kind of the MCU, could be the MCU Suicide Squad, or the Suicide Squad, because that's the good one. I don't know. I want this to be good. I think this is a great idea. I want that to be good. But that's Phase 5. So this is right from basically early 2023 until mid-2024. So a year and a half of stuff. But that's not all. Where's my button? There's my button. The other thing we got is Phase 6. So the first thing they announced, Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four will start off Phase 6 in November. D23, which is basically like a Disney convention, is in September, I think. So if we're gonna get if we're gonna get casting for the Fantastic Four movie, it's going to be then. But the rumor is right now, the only one I remember is that the whole cast has been rumored at this point, but the only one I remember is Jason Segel will be the Thing. That's the rumor at the moment. That Jason Segel of How I Met Your Mother, the Muppets movie, the two most recent Muppets movies. At least I think he was in Muppets Most Wanted. I don't remember actually. Supposedly he's going to be the Thing. Great casting. I legitimately like that idea of Jason Segel as the Thing, right? And the other four, the other three, I know there have been, this is the fourth attempt to do the Fantastic Four. I know everyone's fucked it up so far, whether it's the Corman version, or the version in the early 2000s with Chris Evans, or Fan Four Stick. They've all fucking sucked. But this is in my opinion, this is the last chance to get it right. And I really hope they do. There's been a lot of memes recently about, when Doctor Doom gets introduced into the MCU and someone makes fun of his name as Victor Von Doom. And it's or it's when Doctor Doom starts cracking jokes in the MCU. And yeah, I get those memes, you know, especially after what they did with Gore the God Butcher, which again was not bad at all. Gore is a very serious character, and they play him for they don't. He tells like a joke or two, mostly, you know, to terrify the children. It's a whole thing. Thor: Love and Thunder was okay, you know. But I Doctor Doom is one of, if not the most serious comic book villain ever. Right? Like, he fucking one-shots Thanos. And the only time he loses is when, like, it's his fault. Right? Like, nobody can beat Doctor Doom. You have to trick Doctor Doom into beating himself, right? And that's usually Reed Richards can get under his skin. I don't know. I'm sure they'll do him fine, right? It's Doctor Doom. You gotta give him the respect. A lot of people are very, scared. But Marvel knows this is their chance to not fuck it up, right? This is kind of they've got to get it right, because so far we've had 3 attempts that didn't. I don't know. I think they can do it. I really do. I know some people are way more negative than me, and rightfully so. I don't know. If they take influence from Jonathan Hickman's run, I think it all might work out. You know, I think it could be good. And I don't think it's going to be John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic. I think that was just a fan casting thing. It's like bringing Sir Patrick Stewart back. It's just a neat fan casting thing that's just kind of fun. It's like, because I guarantee you one of these slots is going to be a new Deadpool movie. I don't know where. You know what? And it might not even be on here, because it would not surprise me at all if they teamed up Deadpool with Spider-Man. And I can guarantee you Hugh Jackman's going to reprise his role as Wolverine in that. Some point Hugh Jackman's going to come back to play Wolverine one more time. At some point in all of this. But yeah, a new Deadpool is probably going to happen, and it might be on here. It might be in this Phase 6. Who knows? It might be later. But I could totally see them bringing Tom Holland, right? Deadpool and Spider-Man. Because there is no Spider-Man in any of this. Because whenever Marvel does like these big expos, they don't put Spider-Man stuff on it. Right? So I should just straight up say that. That's why there's no Spider-Man stuff, because, yeah. And, you know, it literally also could be any of these release dates, or any of this stuff. But then that takes us to, so that's November 8th. Then, May 2nd, 2025, is the Avengers of the Kang Dynasty. So we know they're setting up Kang in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium. Presumably he'll show up again in maybe a second season of Loki. Maybe he'll show up some other place, right? Maybe they'll tease him at in somewhere else. But yeah, Kang's going to come to Earth. He's going to do some conquering. And, you know, we've got an Avengers team to deal with that. We've got so many characters to deal with this stuff that we could have 2 Avengers. We could honestly have an Avengers team do this, and then a whole different Avengers team do this. Right? Like, that's kind of where we're at. Because so we get this in May of 2025. In November of 2025, the same fucking year, we're getting Avengers Secret Wars. So Secret Wars in the comics, I'm going to assume they're not going to do the 1980 Secret Wars. Because that was just, even though I like that story, I think it's fun, it was just an excuse to bring a bunch of characters together and have them fight, right? Whereas the 2016-2015 Secret Wars, after a bunch of incursions, which incursions were set up at the end of Multiverse of Madness, the universe is destroyed, but rebuilt by Doctor Doom. So yeah, Doctor Doom is our new endgame villain, and presumably this movie ends with the reset of the Marvel Universe. Right? Because presumably because this saga, phases 4, 5, and 6, are called the Multiverse Saga, so theoretically, Secret Wars ends with the multiverse being destroyed, right? With the multiverse basically restarting. That's my guess, because that's kind of what happened in the comics. I don't know, it's fucking, oh my god, like, there's this whole, like, some people say Marvel has never rebooted its comic series, whereas DC has done 2 hard reboots in 3 soft reboots, and that's not even and I don't even know how to classify Rebirth, or Doomsday Clock, or fucking Dark Crisis right now, which has been renamed Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths, because, like, fuck, man, god damn. God, no wonder comics are dying. No fucking wonder. Fucking Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths. Are you fucking kidding me? What a fucking mess. But no, that just getting 2 Avengers movies in the same year. I guess this is how they're making up for it. We got nothing in Phase 4, but we're getting 2 in Phase 6, man. There's so much potential here. Any other guesses as to what could fill any of these other slots? You got me there. Honestly, I have no idea. I'd love another season of Miss Marvel. You know me. Who knows where the Marvels is going to end, but I'd love another season of Miss Marvel. We know, because Kevin Feige fully admitted that they've planned out the next 10 years of the MCU. And this is just the next 3, right? This is the end of 3.5, I guess, because this is the end of 2025. Oh my god, they're going to be making these movies long after we're all dead. Probably. Holy shit. It's a fucking mess. But I'm excited. I did not expect to get as excited for this all today, but I fully am. Man, the MC... I know Phase 4 is kind of lacking for a lot of people. I think it's okay. But, this... And it's these 2 right here. Man, these have so much... Honestly, all 3 of these have so much fucking potential. Anything else? Again, I think we're going to get more Spider-Man. Who the fuck knows what's happening with the Sonyverse? Who gives a shit? But I'd love to see Spider-Man and Deadpool crossover. That'd be so cool, man. It'd be so cool. And yeah. And that's basically it. They talked about a bunch of different things as well. Like, they gave a lot of in-depth information. I wasn't at the panel, obviously, right? This is all... you get all this information I got on Twitter, right? You just go on Twitter and you listen to people talk about all this shit, right? So it's a whole thing, but... Yeah, they'll keep us busy. They will keep us busy until the end of time. Alright, let's go back. We spent about half an hour talking about this. Let's go back to Fall Guys, shall we? It's been long enough. I do need to get more water. But the last thing I want to talk about, real quick, and we'll do one game, is the Black Panther trailer. We got they ended off the show with the new trailer for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. A fantastic trailer. However, I am still rather hesitant about this movie. I don't know. Because I was in the camp of recast Chadwick Boseman. I have fully admitted that. I was in that camp. And I'm sure this will be great. But I'm hesitant. I don't know. There's just something that just worries me. It's weird, because this is the Multiverse Saga. And Kevin Feige's like, by the end of Phase 4, you will know, like, where we're going. So I wonder what we're gonna do by then. Where the heck is... Oh, I was like, where the heck is my mouse? But yeah, so the trailer itself was pretty great. I'll fully admit that. I am, however... Yeah, I'm hesitant about the movie. I like what they're doing with Namor. I don't know what the fan reaction to this is. Because, so Namor is, right, he's basically... He's one of Marvel's oldest heroes, actually. He's as old as the original Human Torch. The robot one. At least, I'm pretty sure the original Human Torch was a robot. That sounds right in my head. Yeah. I'm also just thinking of Firebrand from Young Justice, who was also a robot, but that's just Young Justice, I think. But yeah, I'm pretty right. He's one of the oldest Marvel heroes, and he's the King of Atlantis. He's half human, half Atlantean. He can fly, which I don't remember how he does. I think he was a mutant at some point as well. Like, that's a whole thing I kind of remember. But Namor is a super important character, especially in the events leading up to Secret Wars. because he literally, I want to say at one point, he literally destroys a universe. Like he uses like a nanobomb or something to destroy an entire universe during an incursion. Right? It's like a whole thing with the Illuminati and everything. Right? Which I don't think we'll see. Like, part of it, I'd say it would make sense to see the Illuminati again. Like, an actual Illuminati, but I don't think we will. I think that's just going to be a Multiverse of Madness thing, right? That's like an Easter egg sort of thing. Because they didn't have an Avengers. They instead had an Illuminati. So that's going to be a whole thing. But, Namor, what I like the change, I like that they're making him South American. Because you don't really get much of that in comic books or just in fucking culture in general. I mean, how much do you really see South American mythology represented in pop culture? I can think of more examples from fucking anime using Quetzalcoatl than I can anything else, really. Than anything made in the West. But no, I like the new Namor, the Namor design, right? Them fully digging into South American mythology. I think that's going to be really neat. I'm excited. I think that's going to be good. But yeah, I think it's a great trailer. Definitely go watch it. But there's something in the back of my head where I'm like, I don't know. I'm not cautiously like optimistic. I want to say I'm way more, especially after the trailer. After the trailer, I'm definitely more optimistic than I was before. But there's just, it's gonna be, especially because it's gonna be hard to top the original Black Panther. Like, that's another thing. And I know Phase 4, right? Everyone's like, oh, Phase 4 has been so mid. And yeah, they're correct. Phase 4 has kind of been mid. Not as bad, like, people make it as, like, the worst thing ever. But I really do think that, yeah, part of the reason we're going from Phase 4 into Phase 5 at the end of the year is to not clean the slate. Oh my god, you're terrible. Holy shit. But, you know, to give us, like, new, right, to kind of, like, be like, hey, you know, Phase 4 had some problems. You know, we had some problems pacing our TV shows. But now going into Phase 5, we've learned our lessons and we're going to do better. And hopefully soon we will start seeing these TV shows that are better. Again, we got a trailer for She-Hulk and it looks great. I really want She-Hulk to be good, man. Especially because I do like the character. I've read a little bit of her comic and it's really good. And I know the MCU goes all into comedy, but hey, guess what? She-Hulk is a comedy character. Even before, right, she was breaking the fourth wall before Deadpool, and she breaks the fourth wall in the trailer. So, hey, who knows? You know, I'm excited. I don't know. Well, there's totally the possibility of it all falling apart. But, you know, it could be great. I don't know. Again, I'm not as negative on the MCU as some people are. Some people have just, like, I feel like since Thor Love and Thunder, some people have definitely, like, completely turned their backs on it. And I don't know, some of it I definitely don't feel like is deserved. Like Eternals, right? Like, people did not like Eternals. Rewatching Eternals a few weeks ago, I really liked it. I actually, on a second viewing with a, like 7-8 months of space, like, between it, I really liked Eternals again. Definitely, I mean, like, I don't think I'm gonna, like, I can't change my ranking of it, which, oh god, I think it's, what, number 5 from the bottom, but, yeah, no, I definitely think that people were, right, because it is a different movie, and it does have problems, but it's a very interesting movie that, yeah, I did enjoy. I'm just curious to see where we'll go from here. Yeah, I find it so strange that, yeah, we're just all of a sudden cutting straight to Phase 5. But I just can't help but see that, like, oh, Phase 4 has been kind of mid, so Phase 5 will be better. But I do, admittedly, with the Multiverse Saga, as they're calling it, I do definitely see where that's coming from. Right? I mean, we've had Loki. We've had Multiverse Madness. We've had Spider-Man Far From Home. And while Multiverse of Madness was not mad as I wanted it, you know, because especially compared to Everything Everywhere is All at Once, which is the best movie of the year. Straight up. I hope A24 is adding a bunch of movies. We'll talk about an A24 movie later tonight. But A24 is adding a bunch of movies to HBO Max next month. I really hope Everything Everywhere All at Once gets added. Because, God, that movie's so good. Oh, God. You know what I guess Target is going to stop selling movies. Yeah, just straight up, Target will no longer be selling DVDs or Blu-rays or 4K Blu-rays or 4K whatever. I don't. Who the fuck cares about HD DVD? I'm just thinking a regular show. Oh God, we got that to talk about tonight. Close enough. We're still qualifying, even though you're terrible. We're still probably gonna qualify. I have carried this team. This duo, I mean. Just go straight through the middle. This is literally one of the easiest middles I've ever seen. Wow. Still got first. Yeah, I think that's all we got for MCU. I'm not gonna start the next segment yet. Because yeah, we got video game. We've got WIBE now. And I've been playing video games, I've been watching movies. Well, I've watched a movie. Oh, I have to hug people, don't I? I should do that here. Oh, look at the dead among us. Hugs. I think they have to hug me back, which is the hard part. Oh yeah, that's a hug if I've ever seen one. Oh my God. We're still technically in it. Okay, now we're not. How many things do we still have to do? So that's all the news stuff. How many other things we have? 2 games, 4 TV shows, including an anime, and then 1 movie. Okay, we've got a bunch, and I've got a lot to say about all of them. I'm glad I didn't say this earlier. I think this happened like a week or 2 ago. I'm glad you can now exit in that menu. Be sure to hug with maybe 1 person. Shit. That one's gonna be a pain. Alright, I'm gonna go get some more water, because I am out, because we talked about the MCU for almost an hour. I mean, okay, like 40 minutes, but yeah. But I will be right back. Okay, before we get into the games I've been playing, which I've got 2, I do want to say, I tried a food thing. So this morning, I woke up earlier than I have probably all summer. And I was like, you know what I want? Donuts. Because I saw Krispy Kreme is doing ice cream donuts. Not donuts with ice cream. But you know, they're flavored after ice cream. There's like it's like a creamsicle or something like that. There's a firework pop. So it's like a red, white, and blue one. And then there's one that, it's not a drumstick, but it's like it's got like the cone, and it's got like bits of chocolate on it, and it's a cream filled. So I got one of each. As of right now, I've only tried the drumstick one. It's not a drumstick. I just don't remember what it's called. I tried that one. It was okay. You know, I'll be honest. I personally, when it comes to donuts, I like a plain donut with a chocolate glaze. Right? That's... And it's not even... I guess it's just like, you know how it's like chocolate. I think that... Like, I don't need like a quadruple chocolate donut. I know they have all those like fancy donuts at those like indie donut places, you know, like the bacon maple bullshit, and some of those are okay, you know, but when it comes to donuts, I'm a very simple man, you know. I don't need much from a good donut, and the reason I thought of that is because my little nameplate says I'm a dedicated donut. The reason I just thought of it right now to mention it. But yeah, so when it comes to donuts, I'm a very simple man. Admittedly, I like the little bit of chocolate, but like, you know, I know, right, there are some people who just do like plain glaze, and that's fine as well, but I like a little bit of pizzazz. But yeah, it was okay. You know, I'm definitely excited to try the other 2. But yeah, it was decent, you know. Yeah, Krispy Kreme, you know, they love to do crazy things like that. Honestly, when I think of like places doing like crazy food stuffs, I definitely don't think of Krispy Kreme, especially because I don't live anywhere near a Krispy Kreme, but yeah. So, video games. So, I have been talking about how I wanted to replay Sayonara Wild Hearts. I think I mentioned that a few weeks ago, how I just kind of wanted to replay Sayonara Wild Hearts. So because now the game, I remember when the game originally released, and I was like, I'm kind of interested, but it's also a rhythm game, and I'm not good at rhythm games. If I had to like a least favorite genre of video game, it might be rhythm game, which is why I played 2 rhythm games this week. But Sayonara Wild Hearts it always kind of interested me. And then, either like a year or 2 ago, I remember hearing Laura Kate Dale talk about it, and just how good it was, and maybe even watching her play it a little bit, and just being like, you know, maybe I should finally play it. So, around when I saw her play it, I was like, you know, I think it was on sale at the time, so I was like, you know what, I'll pick it up. Sure, why not? It's on sale right now. So I picked up Sayonara Wild Hearts, and I played it, and I liked it. And then I kind of forgot about it for a while. I love the music, though, right? Like, I do have the sound, I got the soundtrack as well, so I, like, listened to that again, and God, it's so good. But I've just been thinking about it again recently, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should replay it. Still am not good at getting the golds, man. Still, I got a few more this time, but nope, still don't have all the golds. But yeah, so I played Sayonara Wild Hearts again. I actually liked it even more the second time. Honestly, it's such a good game. And even though I called it a rhythm game, it's kinda not. Like, it's more of like an interactive music video, where you just kinda gotta go left and right, and then occasionally do like a quick time event, right? It really isn't as like a traditional like rhythm game, right? Like I'm thinking like your DDRs or your oh god, what's another example? The Taiko drums or even Rhythm Heaven, right? It's a lot simpler than that. It really is. You can beat the entire game in like an hour. But it's a good... But that hour is a very high quality hour. Like, just straight up. It's a lot of fun. It's a really good game, that Sayonara Wild Hearts. It's kind of one of those things that's like... I just recommend playing it and experiencing it more. Like, sure, could I let's play it? Probably, but no, I think it's one of those games that you just kind of gotta play. Especially because I think you can get it on sale for, like, I don't know, like $8. I don't know. I know some people have, like, problems buying, like, $15, $20 indie games that only have, like, 3 hours of content. But I have no problem with it personally if those 3 hours are very high quality. And Sayonara Wild Hearts 3 hour. It's not even 3, it's hour. Again, there's a lot of replayability, getting all the gold and whatnot. But its hour of content is a very good hour. Like, holy shit. For that 1 hour is very high quality. I definitely recommend it. The music is fantastic. I love every track. My favorite is still probably the title theme, which I know is the song the game opens on, but it just is an unkillable earworm in my head. You know. But yeah, I highly recommend Sayonara Wild Hearts. Great time. Great time all around. I mean, again, this is my second time playing through it, but yeah, I enjoyed it even more the second time. It's also really gay. It's about lesbian romance. Like, the game opens up with Queen Latifah, who's the narrator, talking about how, like, oh, the main character experienced a heartbreak so bad, right? And now they're having to do all this, and it's just really good. Because, yep, you fight the devils, the motorcycle gang, you fight the evil furries. What's the other one? Oh, the video gamer. And there's like a whole level in like a VR headset. It's really cool. It's a really great game all around. Highly recommend it. And then, so the other rhythm game I played, which is, so whereas Sayonara Wild Hearts was like a rhythm, I don't know, it's probably classified as like action or something like that, is the other rhythm game I played, which is Rhythm Adventure, is Wander Song. So I picked up Wander Song, I want to say last year, maybe even 2 years ago now. So it's an indie game, you know, it's a I guess, kind of like a Zelda-like. It also does remind me of a point-and-click adventure game, but you just aren't pointing and clicking, and like you don't have to combine items or anything like that. Yeah, it's definitely more like a point-and-click adventure game than it is like a Zelda game. Even though there is a lot of puzzle solving. Like, puzzle solving a la Zelda game. But yeah, it's, Wander Song is a game I picked up a few years ago. Either last year or 2 years ago. I kind of don't remember when I did. And I started it. And then I was like, well, you know, I'm enjoying it, but I put it down because, again, rhythm game. And then I meant to pick it back up. And I just never did. I just kind of forgot about it. But as I was going through my Switch library, I saw it on there. And I was like, you know what? Maybe it's finally time to pick up Wander Song again. Because I think it was like, it took me, I don't know, like 7 or 8 hours to beat. Not the longest in the world, but also not like as short as, again, Sayonara Wild Hearts. But yeah, how it works is, right, you're the little bard, Little Bee, who what did I call? I think I called them Vela, because at one point you get to name your character, but you only get 4, like, you get, like, it's like an old arcade where you only get 4 digits. And so that was, like, the best name I could come up with in 4 digits. But, so, right, you're playing as a little bard who is in a world that is going to end, right? Basically, the world is falling apart, and it's going to end, but you get given the task of, you know, trying to stop the world from ending. By, if you go talk to the overseers, you can get pieces of the Earth Song, and if you play the Earth Song, the world won't end. So that's your whole go. You go across these different areas. Like, you start off in, like, your hometown where you're fighting off ghosts. And then you go to another area where you're, like, recruiting members for, like, a band. Let's do one more game of Squad Celebration. Right, where you're earning medals for, like, a band. Or you're right, you gather, like, a violin player and an accordion player. Honestly, that segment and a later pirate segment, the game kind of reminds me of Paper Mario. Specifically, if I had to make it, I know the obvious comparison is Thousand Year Door, but it's not an RPG. That should be said. It's not an RPG. If I had to compare it to any Paper Mario, I would probably say Super Paper Mario. That's honestly kind of the writing style and some of that stuff, and some of the puzzle solving. It reminded me of Super Paper Mario, which I know some people don't like Super Paper Mario, but I really do. I'm actually a pretty big fan of Super Paper Mario. I think it does not get enough credit for how good it is. Oh my god. Fine. So yeah, if I had to make any sort of comparison, it would be that. But I liked it, you know? I think it's a very solid game, right? So you do a band section, and then I think right after that you do a pirate section, where you go help out pirates, and you literally get a little bit where you can, like, travel through the open sea. It's a very simple, very solid game. And yeah, how it works is, like, instead of having, like, a sword or a shield or anything, you can, like, with your right analog stick, you can point it in one of 8 directions. And by pointing it in the directions, you play a different music note. And, you know, you've got the 8 different music notes. Very simple, very straightforward. And yes, it is a rhythm game. So you do have to do, you know, occasionally you have to play a song. But the game is very generous. Because sometimes it definitely doesn't feel like I'd go to, like, do, like, a diagonal left. Like a northwest, and it just wouldn't register, right? Or, like, it wouldn't register as, like, on point as I want it to be. Gosh. But yeah, so, like, it's definitely, and, like, that might just be me. That just might be me not being able to, like, hit the directional input perfectly. But even with that, the game is very forgiving. Right, when it comes to actually doing stuff, no, the game is very forgiving. And most of, like, if you ever have to, like, remember, like, a musical sequence, I think the longest musical sequence in the game is 6. So you have to remember 6 directional inputs without it, like, telling you them. Like, sometimes it'll, like a traditional music game where, like, like a Dance Dance Revolution where, like, the cymbals come up. You know, like, in longer sequences, specifically Overseer songs, you have to, like, do that. And that part's very forgiving. But, like, in any other sequence where you'll see, like notes on the board, and you have to, like, copy the notes, it's kind of like playing, like, the Ocarina in Ocarina of Time. In fact, I'd say it's even simpler than that. And yeah, you can do that. You can dance, like, if you hold the L button, you can dance. And one of your dances is like a spin. So I spent like 90% of the game spinning. Yeah, and you're just a little bard going on this adventure to, you know, find the Overseer songs. There's you're accompanied by a witch named Miriam, who is a pessimist, but they're trying to help you because they don't want the world to end. And there's some other twists that come into the game fairly early on that I don't want to give away, but they're pretty interesting. And yeah, it's all around. Again, I know, like, the spiritual successor to Paper Mario is South Park: The Stick of Truth and Bug Fable, but I would also totally say this is a spiritual successor to Super Paper Mario. Like, that's the closest thing I can compare it to. But it's a simple yet rather fun game. And I just, seeing all these, like, inventive areas. And, you know, you get a few, like, parodies here and there, like, I actually don't want to say what they are. Like, it definitely never goes, like, too far. But, you know, there's just a lot of fun sequences and some fun ideas. It's very solid game design. The art style is kind of that... It's not really arts and crafts, but it's, like, very simple, very light pastels, with just a fun world of lovable characters. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's totally in the running for my Game of the Year list, and I fully expect it to be on there. At least that sounds right to me. I don't think I've ever put Wonder Song on a previous year's list, even in an honorable mention. Yeah. But yeah, you're a fun little bard, traveling around, playing songs. You know, at one point you learn Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and then anytime, or at least I figured it out, because yeah, I am not musically inclined, but that was really fun to take to like anytime an NPC would be like, hey, can you teach me a song? I would just teach them Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. That was always very fun. I did that several times, because I am not musically inclined. I have no musical talent whatsoever. Like, I'm so tone deaf. Yeah, it's just a very simple game that is very fun. And yeah, for someone who does not like rhythm games, the writing is, again, it reminds me of a Paper Mario, and that's a very high compliment. Because Paper Mario games truly are something special. What else? Yeah, anything else I want to say about it? Not really. It's got a lot of good moments that I can't really talk about without spoiling, so I'm just not going to. Yeah, it's a very simple yet effective game that makes a lot out of it. And I played it on Switch, and it ran fine on Switch. I had no problems whatsoever, you know. There were some times where the graphics kind of looked weird, but I'm assuming that's just the style of the game, you know. God, we're so close to actually being able to tie this up. Yeah, we just can't do it. Yeah, we're just a few points behind, but no. So yeah, those were the 2 video games I played this week. Again, in total, that's not even, 10 hours? And yeah, like I said, I played a little bit of Fall Guys today, but really, it's nothing much. It's Fall Guys. You all know how this works at this point. We're level 90. Only 10 levels to go. You can basically get 10 levels per week. So yeah, as of probably next week will be the final Fall Guys in chat. And then we'll probably switch on to some other game. We need to earn 1 more gold medal in a team round. Okay. So, on to TV shows. So, let's start off with Spy X Family. Because we were going to talk about it last week, and then we ran out of time, basically. That's what it amounted to. Spy X Family is a very simple concept. Right? It's a spy who's on a mission to, like, kill this guy, to kill this, like, foreign official. Is he a foreign official? He's kind of, I don't know, he's got a weird position. But he has to, but like this guy never goes out in public. So the only way to get to him is to fake a family and get like a fake daughter, enroll her in a school. But he also, right, to get into this like elite school, he also needs a fake wife. And he gets a wife who's an assassin. Right there, right, the spy and the assassin, right, that's a thing we've seen before. Right? And I would honestly, if it was just that and like them and their fake daughter, that would already be a very solid concept. But what really makes it excel is the fact that the daughter, which I did not know going in, because people have been recommending this manga to me for well over a year now. But what I did not know is that the daughter is a telepath. So she can read their minds, and as a result knows they're a spy and an assassin. And like she knows about the father's mission to infiltrate the school, which is why she needs to get good grades. And that's just a very right, and that really does help it, because in like a lot of like the potential like inconsistencies or whatnot, because the daughter knows what's going on, even though they don't know she knows. Right? Like at one point she's like playing spy, right? And it's like, oh, she's like playing spy, isn't that cute? But in fact she's pretending like him. And there's so much fucking potential in this show. And I'm not even talking about like the wife and right husband finding out about each other. What I'm specifically thinking of is, right, because Anya, the daughter, watches like a spy TV show. And right, it's basically like The Grey Ghost, or you know, like one of the, oh look at that, or like one of the early like Batman shows. How do I get that big Hedis? But I totally see there being a potential situation where, you know, it gets a little bit more serious. She finds out that the spy game isn't all, you know, sunshine and rainbows. I had a tail, right? I didn't lose my tail there at the end. Okay, whatever. But yeah, right, I totally see that being a potential, because the mother kills people, and she's very nonchalant about it. And like the daughter is as well. Even though there is one moment in like the final episode where she gets like a new teddy bear or something, and she's like showing it around the house, and she goes to go into the parents' room, and they like freak out and yell at her because right, she might find the spy stuff or poison daggers and accidentally poison herself. But yeah, it's a very lighthearted idea that, you know, plays. I could see it getting serious, but for the most part, it plays itself per comedy. It's very cute. It's got a lot of weird scenarios. Like when they go to like position for the school to get her in, their outfit gets dirtied. And then they reveal they have a backup outfit. And then the backup outfit gets dirtied. So they reveal they have a backup outfit. And right, it's crazy shit like that. Most of it I'm fine with. The only time I jump the shark is a very harsh term. But there's a moment where they rent out like a castle, and you know they do this whole spy experience, and Yor is drunk and she attacks him at one point, that's like the funny bit about it, because right when she gets drunk, she kind of loses her inhibitions, and she kind of does she does some of that like assassin stuff. But the whole bit of them renting out the castle, that was my jump the shark moment. Even though, again, I don't want to use that as like the show jumped the shark, because it didn't, right? I was still enjoying it. It was just like for having a bunch of like weird and wacky scenarios, that was the weirdest and the wackiest that I just personally didn't really like. You know, that was the one scenario that kind of like, I didn't really care for it. But the rest of, oh my god, why did that not snatch from him? But the rest of the show, other than that one moment that, again, I didn't really care for. It's like half the episode, honestly. The rest of the show is very solid. It's got great chemistry between all of its characters. It's very fun. It's got so much potential in the concept. Because they're basically in, you know, I don't remember if they're in East or West Germany. I want to say they're in West Germany, post-World War II. right? Like, that's a big thing, that they're in, right, post-World War II Germany, and, you know, it's and the reason he's trying to assassinate the guy, or, you know, get to the Desmond guy, is because he needs that to prevent the World War III, right? To prevent all-out nuclear Armageddon between, you know, the two countries. And then you also find out that Yor's brother, the assassin's brother, is like a top-ranking executive in like the opposing military. But he's all protective of his sister, right? It's a very solid, simple, but very well done setup, right? I thoroughly enjoy the show from beginning to end. Simple, sweet, effective. Next up, so last week it was announced that Close Enough, which is the show by J.G. Quintel, so J.G. Quintel worked on Regular Show, and then from Regular Show, their next show was Close Enough, which was an HBO Max exclusive. It was announced that the show has officially been canceled after 3 seasons, which all 3 seasons are currently available. And so I watched it. I sat down and I watched all 3 seasons. And, well, so I'd already seen the first season. I saw the first season, and I did a whole video on it back when it released. But that was a long time ago now. So, but I did not watch the second season, because I liked the first season, and I do definitely think that in the future... Oh, shit. In the future, this show is going to be remembered as like a cult classic, right? I definitely think that in one day, people are going to remember... Oh god, I'm trying to protect our yellow, but... Yeah, one day this show is going to be remembered very fondly. Because it's basically Regular Show, but for adults. But I like that. And I definitely do think that, like, kids who grew up with Regular Show... When you're an adult, right? When you're an adult or when you have kids, you're going to watch this show, and because it's Regular Show but about parents basically. Because it's Emily and I don't remember the guy's name, but they're parents, and it's just got a lot of potential to be a very solid, very well done show, and I definitely. So that was the show. And, you know, you've got, like, the wacky neighbor. It's got elements of, like, a Seth MacFarlane show. You've got the wacky neighbors. There's no, like, animal companion. Okay, well, there's a mystical horse in the second season, which is, like, a whole thing. At least for an episode. But, you know, it's a bunch of... It's, like, 8 episodes. Every episode is, like, has 2 11-minute episodes in it. And... yeah, I enjoy it, and you know, it's got those, like, Regular Show style, like, wacky hijinks. But, I will say, having watched the second and third season, I don't think the second and third season are as good as the first. I think the first season is its strongest point. Mostly because I feel like it gets more into it. Right? Like, with these wacky and crazy scenarios, like, in the first season... They have to make a quilt for Candace, the daughter. And to make the quilt, they find, like, a bunch of, like, elves that are... And it's, like, this whole, like, weird, like, underground society of, like, killer elves that are actually just, little people, right? Or, at one point, he has to... The guy who is... It's the same voice. It's J.G. Quintel himself... who voices the guy, and he voices Mordecai, right? It's the exact same fucking voice. He has to, like, prove his, like, manliness by jumping a motorcycle, right? And there's tons of other, like, weird episodes like that are just, like, the first season is definitely the strongest, in my opinion. It's got tons of weird experimental shit like that. Not to say the later seasons don't have that. Like, in the second season... the dad is, who's, again, I want to say it's Jake. I know the mom's name is Emily. I want to say it's Jake, but I could be wrong about that. he's worried that he'll no longer be able to pick his daughter up. Because, right, he hurts his back while picking her up. So he goes to the gym to become swole, and he just becomes an absolute unit who's too swole. And, right, like, that's one of those crazy inventive episodes. But then there's a lot of episodes that just kind of aren't that. Like, well, but there are, and right, there's a good, plentiful amount of them throughout the show. Like, there's one where, they do a parody of Scarface. Because at the, they go to, they get the kid enrolled in, like, an elite preschool. And at the preschool, hot sauce is banned. So they do a whole Scarface parody where they're selling the kids hot sauce on the side to buy a drone. And it's like, it's a whole thing. And there's tons of little wacky episodes like that. But yeah, in the second season, they're just like, they definitely focus more. I'm definitely most interested in the main couple. And in the second season, they definitely give more focus to some, in the second and third seasons, they give more focus to the side characters, which, you know, sometimes that's fine. Like, you find, not the landlord, but so the landlord is, right, this old lady, former cop, and she's got an adoptive son, and you meet his parents, who are, like, they used to, like, steal gas, but now they're in, like, the fracking business, and that was, like, okay, that's kind of funny, and they build, like, and they decide to frack the house, and meanwhile, Candace gets a leaf blower, and she literally holds up the house with a leaf blower. It's using that regular show wackiness, but putting it in mundane situations. There's one episode specifically I'm trying to remember that was in the third season that was very good. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, there's a lot of, like I said, there was a Scarface parody. At one point they get a robot coworker and they do like a whole like Terminator thing because the robot becomes self-aware, but instead of like using his like self-awareness to like destroy the world, he instead just gets depression because now he doesn't know why he exists, right? Or he gets depressed because he doesn't want to live just to work. They do a whole thing on making fun of Peloton. They get jacked. They do a Matrix parody. There's a lot of movie parodies, right? And yeah, and a regular show had its fair share of movie parodies. Much like regular show, the show has got a great sound, right? Regular show had a pretty great soundtrack, and this one's no different. You know, I'm trying to both pay attention to the game and find the episode I'm looking for. But the one episode that I saw, I know people. So in regular show, every Halloween, they did they basically did a Treehouse of Horror, right? You know how Treehouse of Horror is like 3 like horror stories, you know, Simpson style, right? They do that, right? They did that every season of regular show has like a Treehouse of Horror parody. In this show, for their final season, they do a Treehouse of Horror parody. But, and I think they even reference that, yeah, they're fully ripping off The Simpsons. Because, yeah, regular shows doesn't. But, and it ends with this very meta thing where Candace wakes up in the production studio. And there's plenty of regular show references throughout it. The guy's name who I'm forgetting, at one point wears for Halloween wears a Mordecai costume because it's the same voice actor. Is his name Josh? Oh fuck, is his name Josh? Yeah, okay, it's not Jake, it's Josh. Yeah. I don't know which episode I'm forgetting. There's definitely one that was very good that I'm completely forgetting. That was in the third season. Oh, okay, I remember. After they do breakfast for dinner, Candace, the daughter, learns that, like, oh, some rules are meant to be broken. And as a result, she basically starts a revolution at her preschool. And they go to create the world's biggest baking soda volcano that will destroy everybody. That's a very solid episode. And even the part that came before it, the Hellspittal, where, right, you find out one of the guy whose name I don't... Again, I really only remember the main three. You find out he's afraid of hospitals, and then you find out his reasoning, and it's a very wholesome thing. They go on Oprah at one point because he writes a really erotic novel, but nobody wants to buy it because, you know, he's a gross guy. But yeah, it's just all around. It's a solid show, but I definitely think the first season is the craziest. But I do think, like, regular show is already a pretty beloved show. At least I definitely get that feeling it is. It has problems, Mordecai, Lord of the Sims, right? But I definitely feel like it's very fondly remembered. This show, I hope that, yeah, one day people will look back at this show and realize, no, this is pretty great. And I definitely do think when it comes to, like, adult animation, this is one of the best adult animated shows. Like, it's way better than any Family Guy or Big Mouth or any shit like that, you know? It's so much better than any of those shows I just listed. Right. But yeah, I think it's a pretty good show. It's definitely not as good, right? I definitely don't think it's as iconic as regular show. I don't think it ever hits the highs of regular show. But I'm pretty sure it will be. Hopefully one day it will be remembered as a cult classic, because I think it deserves that status. But I think even still, I think it's a very solid show, and I'm glad. You know, after binging through all of regular show, it was really nice to, you know, sit down and binge through all of this one as well. Even though this one took me way less time, because whereas regular show had like 40 episode seasons, this one had what, 8? Again, it was technically kind of 16, but. And then the last show I have to talk about tonight is Aquaman King of Atlantis. So a few years ago, we could do extreme, but I'm just gonna do some solos. If you remember, did I say a few years? So if you remember, last year at like a Comic-Con or something, they announced an Aquaman animated show called Aquaman King of Atlantis. It's technically more of like a 3-episode miniseries. It's 3 episodes, each episode is like 45 minutes. And I remember at the time seeing it, and people did not like the art style. People were so angry at the art style. And I remember watching the trailer, and yeah, I thought the art style, it reminded me of Thundercats Roar. If you don't, that's not the good Thundercats show, that's the bad one, that had like the very like chibi. It's basically whenever people complain about Cal Arts, Thundercats Roar is specifically what they're talking about. And technically this show does have, right, like they do the Cal Arts face. Even though I think the whole Cal Arts face is fucking bullshit. Honestly, anyone who complains about the Cal Arts face does not actually give a shit about like real animation, right? Like that's not what they're right. That's just a bullshit excuse when like to talk about shows that have actual problems. But yeah, I remember the animation looking like Thundercats Roar. Having actually watched the show and even going back to rewatch those trailers, I am convinced I am Berensteining myself. You know, the whole thing where you remember something happening one way, but then it actually happened another way. AKA, right, everyone remembers it as Berenstein Bears, but it was actually Berenstein Bears. Yeah, I'm definitely Berensteining myself here. Because I swear the animation used to look just like Thundercats Roar. But having watched the show, the only reason I watched it is just because I saw it was on Netflix, or on HBO Max. Because, like, I've literally heard nobody talk about the show. Nobody. And it came out back in, like, October. Nobody's talked about it. I legitimately have no idea what people think about it. Because nobody talked about it. And, yeah, it's the animation. I actually cannot describe what I think it looks like. It's not, like, yeah, it has the CalArts face, but it does so much fucking more than that. The animation is actually really crazy. Like, in a way I kind of can't even describe. The closest thing I can compare it to is in the show Star vs. the Force of Evil, there was a character called Mina Loveberry. And Mina Loveberry turned into, like, this giant hulking monster. And when she did, she used, like, a completely different animation style that gave her, like, these really, like, thick veins. And it just kind of went all out with her, right? She looked very different. That is the only thing I can compare her to, is that. Because I was trying to figure out if it reminded me of Venture Brothers, or, you know, even something like fucking Super Jail, right? The show has the wildest animation that looks familiar, but no matter how hard I try to place it, I can't. I have no idea the animation feels familiar, but I have no idea where I've seen it before. It definitely reminds me of, like, an adult animated show. But because the show's not like an adult, like, close enough as an adult animation, you know, they say the fuck word. This show doesn't. This is a kid's show. But the animation style and it's, like, really weird, because sometimes you'll get, like, a close-up on a character, and they have, like, this really, like, hyper-real, like, not hyper-realist, sometimes they do, but they have, like, this really, like, detailed face. And then sometimes they zoom out, and the character will literally just be, their face will be their eyebrow. Like, sometimes they won't even have fucking eyes. Or if they do, they'll just be, like, black dots. Which, you know, I know cartoons do give characters, like, black dots as eyes when they're farther away from the screen. And that's fine. But sometimes it'll be, like, a 2-character shot, and they'll both have, like, black eyes, or sometimes even no eyes. And then sometimes they'll have, like, the really thick, like, neck veins and the lines on the forehead. And the craziest eyes. That 8 double chins, right? Shit like that. And that's just talking about, like, the humans. There's all sorts of, like, monsters that just have, like, at one point they go to this, like, living island that is a combination of sea creatures with, like, hands and fingers. And it's just the craziest shit ever. The show's fucking wild. And yeah, I can't, in some levels, I'm like, no, the animation is kind of simple. But then on other levels, I'm like, the animation's fucking crazy. It's definitely no Thundercats Roar, no. I come away actually pretty impressed by it. I actually think it's pretty solid. And but it goes fucking wild. And it gets very creative. And I do have to give it credit for that. It's just, oh my god. I feel like I'm being, like, tricked, right? Because I remember the show looking completely different. The show itself, so it basically takes place after the events of the first Aquaman movie, right? It's like an alternate timeline, what happened in, like, it's a more comedic universe, after Aquaman defeats Ocean Master and takes the throne. And it's what happens in the events after that. And, right, basically the whole thing is Aquaman wants to gain the love of his people. Because he comes into he takes the throne, and nobody likes him. Everyone finds it, him kind of weird because he's a surface dweller and he talks to fish. Not that they make fun of him for talking to fish. It's more that they just find talking to fish, like, they point out several times. Right, because these people all live underwater. Of course they eat fish. But they find it weird that Aquaman also eats fish, because he can talk to them. So they point out that several times. And it's just, yeah, him, you know, taking up the throne. Mira is his, you know, his confidant, his girlfriend. And you get like 1 or 2 cute scenes between them. But for the most part, Mira is, you know, she's basically a completely different character than, like, in the movie. Because in this show, she's a no-nonsense action lady. And, you know, I don't have problems with the no-nonsense action lady. Especially here, because she is it's comedy. She's Sometimes she is the comic relief character. She's not like the silent, no-nonsense action lady. But she's the type of character who will, you know, punch first, ask questions later. It's a very... it's different, but I do still stand by them. You know, they really should have just recast Amber Heard. Because I really do feel like Mira is essential for Aquaman's character. Between the movie and this and, you know, any other Aquaman thing I've seen or Justice League Unlimited. They really should have just recast Amber Heard. Instead, they've just written the character out of the sequel, and I definitely don't think that's the right move. Supposedly. But yeah, so, like, the first quest, they go to, like, a part of the ocean where the ocean has been, like, completely... I'm just gonna spoil the whole show. The ocean has been, like, completely drained out, and they find this guy operating this giant drill, and then it turns out he's the one who's drained the ocean. And also, while they're inside, like, this desert, because it becomes a desert, time is moving slower. So, like, they feel like, oh, we've been in this desert for a day. But in actuality, it's one day inside the desert is 1 year for everybody else. So when he gets back, Ocean Master has reclaimed the throne. Ocean Master is voiced by Master Shake from Aqua Team Hunger Force. Same voice actor. And because it was driving me crazy in the first episode. Because I was like, it's familiar, but not too familiar. And again, maybe that's one of the many reasons I'm thinking this is an adult animated show. I can't remember who voices Mira. It's a voice actress who's been in a few things. Oh God, who was it? I looked it up at some point because it sounded familiar, but I couldn't exactly place it. But yeah. So then in the second episode, he defeats this. There's like this scientist who I think God, I don't even remember what his accent's supposed to be. I could see how people find him annoying. I really can. And he's got this whole there's a lot of hand stuff in this show. Because he has a bunch of, like, hand robots. And yeah, they defeat him and get this blue magic crystal that slows time. And then then the second episode, they have to defeat Ocean Master. But they get Primordia, who's that giant, like, hand monster island thing I was talking about. They have to defeat Primordia, who has a crystal that speeds up time. And then in the final episode, the scientist comes back and like gets this giant mech suit that that uses both crystals to speed up and slow down time. Because yeah, he's kind of the main villain. Because they don't use any of like the heavy hitters, right? They don't use, Ocean Master, I guess, but like they don't use Black Manta or other Aquaman villain. I have no idea who the fuck Aquaman's villains are other than Black Manta and Ocean Master. I don't know. Maybe this guy is a big shot. I've never fucking heard of him. But yeah, so they fight him, and you get a lot of creative visuals. The backgrounds are good, but I could totally see why people would find this guy annoying. This German Russian scientist guy. I think he's Russian. I could totally see why people would find him annoying. Does he become? I think he's called the Scavenger. I think that's what they call him. Yeah, basically the final episode is like 70% fight scene of them just trying to, stop this guy who can control time. But yeah, it's most definitely a kids show. Not in like the Doc McStuffin sort of way, but it's definitely closer to like what's a good example? I'm gonna say Sanjay and Craig. I don't know. I've never actually seen that show. That'd be my first guess. Or like, was it called Breadwinners or Bread something? Something like that. It was Bread something. That was a Again, all I'm thinking of is Nickelodeon shows, right? It definitely doesn't have like the complexity of like a SpongeBob or right. Or well, okay. SpongeBob has always been complex. People just never gave it enough credit for how good it was. At least, because, you know, fucking Gen X and boomer parents, man. Like, fucking, ugh. Satanic Panic was real, man, and it did far more harm to this country than we ever like to admit. But yeah, it definitely never gets too complex, you know, it's all very surface level, but it does some, like, weird shit, man. The show's all around kinda fucking weird. Not like a regular show weird, it just... Again, I just think of the whole hand island and all these, like, hand creatures. Which is, yeah, all the second episode. Would I recommend it? Probably not. I don't know. If you want, like, if you want to kill, like, 2.5 hours... I mean, there are worse ways to spend 2.5 hours. God, there definitely are. I mean, I've been talking for almost 2.5 hours, so yeah, there are definitely worse ways. But no, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. It was okay. I kind of see why nobody was talking about it, but I also do feel like people just wrote it off completely, and maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. But then again, I don't remember this getting any advertisement at all. It came out like October of last year, and just nobody talked about it, which really surprised me. Yeah. So our final show we got to talk about, and this is one that I saw on Twitter a few weeks ago. I saw somebody, right, it was on Twitter, and it was like, hey, do you want a show with an out trans protagonist and a gay protagonist in the first episode? Well, come check out Dead End Paranormal Park. And I'm sure I saw other stuff about it, like, and this was like I said, like, day of release. But I was like, you know, I am kind of curious, because I feel like I probably saw a few other people talking it up and how good it was. But, like, that was, like, the big selling point. But, like, even on, like, just hearing the premise, right, Dead End Paranormal Park, just the name, okay? I was already kind of interested. So, I don't know how many people remember this. So, in Goosebumps, there is Horrorland, which is, right, a horror-themed amusement park. Pretty solid idea, right? Horrorland. But then in the mid to late 2000s, they did a Goosebumps series. It was, I want to say, 12 books total. And they did a Goosebumps universe, basically, where you did a book like, oh, hey, we're going to redo Night of the Living Dummy. Or, you know, we're going to tell a new story using the Living Dummy. Oh, we're going to tell a new story with the Haunted Mask. Oh, we're going to tell a new story with the camera that kills people. And then at the end of the story, you basically have, like, the final, like... So, right, the story finishes up, and then you get, like, a bonus chapter that is about the character of the story you just read going to Horrorland. And then every book, right, you add a new character, and they go to Horrorland, until you eventually get to book 11, which is all about all the characters from the previous 10 books, right, uniting at Horrorland and, like, working together. I know they're looking for somebody who's missing. And then at the end, like, they find out there's an alternate, like, Horrorland is, like, right, it's already this, like, twisted horror-themed amusement park. But then you find out there's, like, a twisted, like, evil version of that. That's called, like, Panic Park. And the characters get trapped in that. And, yeah, they basically, they did their own, like, it's not a movie, but they did, like, their own book universe, where all these books, like, tied in over the events of, like, 12 books, all leading to them, like, all the characters meeting at Horrorland. I know the Five Nights at Freddy's books kind of did something similar, where, you had, like, the story of the Stitch Wraith at the end of each one. That's a little different, technically, but, you know, it's along those lines. Even though I think Goosebumps did it better, really. But no, yeah, it was this whole Goosebumps series, and yeah, I loved it. Because I've read, I was not an Animorphs kid. Honestly, there's this guy who does Animorphs videos on YouTube, and I've seen them, and God, it makes me kind of want to read Animorph. That book series is fucking wild, man. It gets fucking dark, but in like a really good way, because it's all about war. It's right where I said like Aquaman was like, you know, it's a kids show and it never really gets better, right? It never gets like to this higher level. Fucking Animorphs totally does. Holy shit. Like it's about war and it gets fucking serious, man. And it's just wild. Like I was not an Animorphs kid. I was a Goosebumps kid, and I read every book. And then that series came out, and I was reading every one, and I loved it. So yeah, all that takes us back to this dead-end paranormal park. So haunted amusement park, totally on board. Which is funny because I don't like horror, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Goosebumps. And technically this show isn't horror. Like, this show isn't gonna scare you. But it's about Barney and Norma, who, right, they're originally supposed to be sacrificed to a demon, right? A demon, Courtney, who is, I think, voiced by Elizabeth Olsen? Or not Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth, oh god, what's her name? It's the Hannah Montana girl. It's the Hannah Montana girl. Emily Osment. That's who I was thinking of. It's not Elizabeth Olsen. It's Emily Osment, the Hannah Montana, right? She's Courtney, who is like this demon who tricks them to come into the park and goes to sacrifice them to, you know, summon it, or to, you know, uses their body for a demon. But then the demon ends up getting inside of the dog. And so, right, they have to go they end up stopping the demon, but some of the demonic power gets left inside the dog, so now the dog can talk. And Barney is having, right, he's in strife with his family, because he's out and he's trans. And his family, specifically his grandmother, does not accept him. And his parents just kind of stand by while his grandmother belittles him. Which I knew, so I was already like, okay, you know, I'm interested in this show, just conceptually. But in the second episode, so at one point, Barney yells at the dog, like, why can't you be normal, right? Why can't you go back to the way it was before? And the dog yells back, Pugsley, that, you sound just like Grandmama. And at that moment, I knew I fucking loved this show. Because, yeah, it's he's talking to the dog the same way his grandmother talks about him being trans. And I was like, holy shit. What a great fucking moment. God, this show's good. So, yeah, that was the moment I was, like, sold on the show. And, yeah, it's them, right, they're working at this paranormal park. They have to deal with, like, it's not like everything's, like, demonic magic and whatnot. But, you know, they occasionally have to deal with, like, there's a monster that, like, shows you your worst fears. So, Norma has to conquer that, because she doesn't have any friends. And, yeah, Barney's living at the park to get away from his family, but eventually his little brother shows up. And so now he's trying to, like, hide from his little brother. And then eventually his parents show up as well, and he eventually does reveal, and you get this tense scene between them, right, as they're at, like, where they use nachos as a metaphor for coming out. And it's just really good. It's based on a book, I guess. I'd never heard of the book before. God, I have a lot of books to pick up. But, yeah, then the entire time there's also this whole mystery, because the paranormal park is basically, I'd compare it to Dolly World, but the actual, the Dolly Parton character reminds me a lot more of Madonna, actually, if I'm being honest. So it's basically Dolly World as if it was run by Madonna. Because, you know, Dolly Parton's actually, like, a great person, an American hero, whereas Madonna's not. I don't know, I'm sure there's probably a better. But, you know, it's called, like, Phoenix Park, you know, it's kind of like Dollywood, you know, it's a whole thing. Oh, shit. But yeah, I just think that, right, the whole setup's really solid, and they're trying to solve this mystery of, like, these character actors, so, like, people pretending to be Phoenix, they're trying to like solve the right because they keep disappearing. So Norma's trying to solve that mystery, and right, Courtney the demon is trying to get home. And yeah, and I'm not gonna say like every episode's amazing. Like there's one where they go down because Courtney misses hell, and right because they can't go back because there's like they try to open like a door, and because the dog's able to use magic and tries to open a door, but it doesn't work. Or Courtney can't go through, like they've got these like cuffs on. So yeah, they go down to hell and compete, and basically it's a Takeshi's Castle parody, and it was kind of a whatever episode. But I still think overall, yeah, the show is very solid. As you're getting them, the mystery's not too complicated, but you know you're getting a lot of it. The thing I will say I loved. I didn't expect to love it, but I absolutely loved it. So I think it's either at the end of episode 8 or at the beginning of episode 9. They eventually, I'm just gonna, full spoilers ahead, you know. Where's my spoilers? Full spoilers ahead. At the end of the episode, so they've been trying to solve this mystery of what really happened to Phoenix. And they eventually there's like this commercial, and they find out about the impersonators, and that none of the impersonators are actually like missing, but they're all like being stalked and whatnot, and they're all kind of forced into hiding. And they end up going inside the TV and finding out that Phoenix died, but then has people impersonating her, and is, you know, basically like taking control of people's bodies for her replacements. And then afterwards they get kicked out of the park, right? They get banned. So they sneak back in, and Pugsley is like, okay, I'll cast a spell as a distraction. And so he casts a music spell. And then so episode 9 becomes a musical episode. And it's so good. The music is, like, for having no music in the show up to that point, the music in episode 9, the musical episode, is just so well... Oh, God, dang it. The musical episode is just so good. All the songs are catchy. They're really well done. Norma goes under... Because Norma's originally, like, doesn't want to leave. Because the idea that Phoenix is evil, like, really... Like, she doesn't like that. Because Phoenix is her hero. But then, so she goes in, and now she has to pretend to be Phoenix to, you know, get possessed by her. So that way they can, you know, defeat Phoenix once and for all. And then at the end, the demon lord finally like gets out and like fully takes over the dog again, and the demon lord, demon king, his sister shows up with an army of demons, and everyone but like the main cast gets turned into stone. Episode 9 was fantastic, like through and through. And then in episode 10, what I like is that like halfway through the episode, all the main characters get turned to stone. Because at the end of episode 9, Courtney, the cuffs, like you find out they're from angels. The demon sister sets Courtney free so she can go back to hell. And so she goes back to hell. Is actually very disappointed. She's kind of lonely. So she comes back because everyone else has been defeated, right? They've all lost by this point. And Courtney comes back and saves them by revealing that no, the demon, not only is Pugsley still in there, but the demon king has actually grown to like humans. By spending time in Pugsley's body, it's learned to like humans, and at the end he fights his sister and then just admits defeat, right? And then, hey, guess what? Second season with angels. Because the Phoenix's ghost, who technically also is the only other one who's not, even though they're a ghost, they're not like dead, they're not defeated, right? They're not turned to stone. Is like swears revenge against them, but then gets outed by the angels. So and there's like this whole demon angel war thing that's coming. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed the show. They definitely, right, when it comes to trans representation, I think it's fantastic representation. Same, right, all around LGBTQ. Barney gets a boyfriend, and that's also real. I think that also happens in the musical episode. And that's also that's a really great moment as well. Yeah, that's in the musical episode. Because they build it up, like, throughout the entire season. Or, yeah, from, like, episode, like, 2. So that was also a really solid moment. That just finally happened. Because, yeah, there's this whole bit where, they're all, like, they all, like, go into Barney's mind. Norma, Pugsley, and, Courtney go into Barney's mind to, like, try to talk to the guy for him because he's too nervous. And there's, like, an in-between where, like, that's where they find the one of the missing actresses, or the impersonators. And yeah, it's all around a very solid show. I really like that musical episode, man. It's so good. And yeah, I'm excited for more. God, I might have to check out. I think the books are called like Dead Endia or something like that. I might have to check out the books. Dead Endia, The Watcher's Test, Book 1. And it's the same writer as the book is the showrunner and director. 2018, okay. Very similar, very similar art style. And yeah, the animation is, you know, it's solid. You know, they get some creative visuals. Like, there's an episode where they go inside a TV show and, you know, they play around with that and, you know, breaking the fourth wall and being inside TV and all that entails. So that's fun. Hug me. Hug me. Why won't anybody hug me? Yeah, so I really enjoyed Dead End Paranormal Park. It's on Netflix, 10 episodes. Easy recommendation. Easy. And yeah, I think that brings us to our last thing. So, the one movie I saw, which, so if when we finished off Shovel Knight, King of Cards earlier this week, I mentioned how I had Somewheres to Be. Like, I literally finished off Shovel Knight and then rushed to go to the movies because I had a movie that night. So I'd been waiting. So in June, this movie, right, Marcel the Shell released, but it wasn't. I think it was in June. Maybe it was early July, but I want to say it was June, like 26th. Marcel the Shell released, and I had just been waiting for it because it wasn't here. And then finally, I think last Friday, it opened. It opened at one theater here in town. So I was like, okay, I need to find some time to see it. And yeah, so Thursday. And so I finally went and saw Marcel the Shell. So if you don't remember, way back in... Oh god, when did the original... Yeah, I'm going to look this up real quick. When did the original... So there were these shorts on YouTube, these little stop motion shorts. I misspelled Marcel. Movie. I'm sure the shorts still exist. They've got to, right? $10 years ago. God, was that 10 years ago? Yeah, so Dean Fleischer Camp made these little animated shorts written by... It was him and Jenny Slate. Now, I knew Jenny Slate was attached to the project. I did not know she worked on the original shorts as well. She's a full-on co-creator. I knew he did, and I knew, right, because he's in the movie and everything. So, I knew it was him, right? He's the director. He plays himself in the movie. But I did not know he did the original shorts, or Jenny Slate did the original shorts. I thought she was brought in for the movie. And more you know. But yeah, it was these original shorts on YouTube like 10 years ago. And I do remember watching them, right? I remember them being viral. And I was like, yeah, these are cute. And then like a year ago, or something like, so around then, they announced they were making a Marcel the Shell movie. A24 was producing, distribution, right? And so A24 has already had an amazing year. They kicked off the year with Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is, again, so far the best movie I've seen this year. And fucking, as multiverse movies go, it's a million times better than fucking Multiverse of Madness. It's the best movie I've seen in like 5 years. Everything Everywhere All at Once. Highest recommendation. So, right, I saw that, loved it. So I was like, okay, another A24. You know, I remember the little shell shorts, they were cute. So I was like, yeah, I'll go see the movie. And yeah, I was excited. I saw that, you know, the trailers came out, and I was like, okay, you know, I'm ready for it. I actually didn't watch the trailers. I just knew it was happening. I was like, yeah. I mean, I might have, but I didn't. Going into it, I didn't remember. So the movie is basically like it's documentary style. Yeah, I'm gonna take off the spoilers. Because yeah, I won't go into spoilers for this. I recommend it. But yeah, it's documentary style, little Marcel the Shell. And it's Dean who's making like a documentary about Marcel and his grandma. Right? As he's basically staying at this like Airbnb house. And Marcel also happens to be at this Airbnb house. And it's just, and it starts off with like, oh, he's recording these little like documentary style things. And he puts them on YouTube. And right, and it's just, hey, Marcel, right? People really like him. They get fan art, but you know, fans start coming to their house, and it goes wild from there. There's a whole thing because Marcel and his grandma are the only ones there, but there used to be more shell people. So part of his whole journey is looking for his family. And it's just, it starts off as like, I'll admit, it doesn't start off like, if you knew nothing about it, I probably wouldn't say it starts off too strong, but you just gotta keep going, man. Because when you get to that end, or when you keep going through it, and you get to that end, and the more that goes on, right? It starts off with like, oh, these cute little moments. Oh, look at this, right? Like early on, there's a whole thing where he's like, oh, how are you getting the string to make all these ropes? And you find out he's taking it from the drain, right, of the bathtub, and right, you get like funny little scenes like that, and it's cute and it's kind of wholesome. But without giving anything away, this little movie about this little shell with shoes on made me cry my fucking eyes out. I was in tears. Like, and it wasn't just like one scene. No, I'm talking like the last like 30 minutes. Just constantly had me in fucking tears, man. It's real. Like, there's this wave of like, I'm gonna use melancholy. I don't think that's definitely not the perfect word, but there's this sort of like unease, like the sort of, it's not despair. It's definitely not despair, but there's this sort of like dour tone to what's going on. Right? Like, because Marcel is this little shell in this giant people world just trying to survive, and it's just him and his grandma. And so there's this this sadness to it. But then, just in the last like 30 minutes, it just fully comes out and delivers. And yeah, it made me fucking cry my eyes out, man. It's good. I think it's as good as like Everything Everywhere All at Once? No. So far from what I've seen, this has been treated as like a kids movie, and again, it goes back to what I've been talking about. I could see a kid liking this, but I definitely think this is going to be one of those things where a kid watches it, they enjoy it, and then they watch it again like 10 years later, and they realize everything they missed, or it like hits them differently now, and yeah. Like, I definitely see that coming out of this. That's what type of movie this is. It does have that deeper level. But I can also see why a kid might not actually like this, but an adult would really appreciate it. In the theater I went and saw it at, there were people of all sorts of age. There was probably a toddler in there. They were young. They were very young. I will say that. They weren't a baby, but they were probably, they were probably at least 1 year old. But there was also, teenagers. I don't think there was any old folks, but there were teenagers, right? There were people of all ages, adults. I fall into that camp, obviously. But yeah, there were all sorts of people in there. But yeah, I definitely there was the kids, the toddler started crying at one point. And it wasn't anything like, it wasn't one of the sad moments either. This was like, I don't know, like 20 minutes in. But yeah, it's pretty solid. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do recommend it. It's a good movie. Marcel the Shell, man. I don't want to get into anything too specific. That's literally. I'm saying that I cried my eyes out might be giving away too much. But yeah, it's a really good movie. I do recommend it. Yeah, A24 has been hitting out of the park this year. Much better than last year. I mean, I'm sure Zola will be a classic one day, but I remember when Zola was when that was happening day one when that was happening on Twitter. Because I was there like day one reading it, because it blew up. And in the movie, it was okay. I mean, I might like it more. Again, hopefully it's coming to HBO Max. I might like it more the second time, but yeah. Sometimes that's just how it happens. No, I almost caught it. Nope, nothing. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's a little movie about a shell man. I could also see how people could find Marcel's voice kind of annoying. I don't think it ever got to me too much. But definitely, again, those first 10 or 15 minutes, you really gotta set your expectations. But once you do, no, you're in for a good ride. I cried my eyes out. I don't know. I've been thinking, to kind of go off topic. I feel like I've been crying a lot more. I wonder why that is. I'm a guy, but I'll fully admit that. Not really video games, but definitely I feel like movies have been getting me a lot more. Surprisingly, not Disney or Pixar. I know Disney and Pixar movies are famously for making you cry at the end, but Lightyear and Soul and Encanto, nah, none of those got me. But a bunch of other stuff has been. I'm actually sure there's some video game I'm forgetting. I just don't remember what I've been playing recently. Wonder Song. I thought Wonder Song would, based on how it was ending. No. Yeah, crying's good. People, we live in the modern age. It's current year, guys. Hey, Heavenly Saturn, how you doing on this fine night? Of course, we get Blast Ball. I did actually win there was the event last week that was, the Blast Ball Cup. I did end up managing to win 2 rounds of Blast Ball. Didn't get the gold armor from last week. I could not win a round of duos to save my life. That armor that guy has, the gold knight armor, couldn't get it. I could not win a round of duos, no matter how hard I tried. I won the others. I won single player, I won squad, I won Blast Ball. Oh, look, we're out. That went terribly. Oh, we've got... This has been happening more. I feel like the past, week, I keep getting that where, the elimination doesn't go away. Just hang out on Twitch. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you missed me talking about the new MCU stuff for an hour earlier. God, there's so much MCU stuff. I'm gonna do one more game for a night and then call it a night. It's getting pretty late. Oh god, it's actually way later than I thought it was. Yeah. So I didn't see Jordan Peele's Nope. I'm going to see that on, I want to say Wednesday. Yeah, I Wednesday sounds right. I'm going to go see that. I also am probably going to go see freaking DC Super Pets. Not that I really want to, but I probably will end up seeing it. I don't know. I know Nope is going to be fantastic. So yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about it. So if I get something good, right, no good deed goes unpunished. So if I'm going to go see something as good as Nope, I have to go see DC League of Super Pets as a punishment. Yeah. I just hope it's not boring. It being bad, you know, at least bad does something. Bad makes you feel something. Boring is just nothing. I really hope it's not boring. But I am not excited for it at all. But I'm probably gonna go see it. And there's like a... And then... I've got busy times ahead of me. Probably won't see it. Baby, and I don't tolerate horror/psychological. You know, I don't actually like horror either. I don't really... Yeah, I'm not a big fan of horror. Jordan Peele movies are one of the only exceptions, though. Because while they do horror and psychological thriller, they also do a fair bit of comedy. And they never go too far, in my opinion. I actually... Yeah, they're one of the only exceptions. I would recommend them. Yeah. Get Out, Use. They're all... Both of those ones are pretty solid. And yeah, this new one seems to be along the same track. Yeah, I really... I don't watch horror at all. Like, I legitimately think the last true horror movie I saw was, It. Not part 2, part 1. Because, yeah, I didn't see any of the Annabelle movies. I didn't see... Oh, God. Has any other... What other horror movies have come out? I legitimately can't think of anything. I'm gonna do one more. I was not satisfied. Getting out on the first round there, I was not satisfied with that. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting. But yeah, I don't do horror movies either. There's a few that, like, you know, like Jason Goes to Hell, where it's like, yeah, this is horror, but not really. Friday the 13th New Nightmare, it's horror, but not really. But yeah, no, Jordan Peele movies are just so good that they're one of the few exceptions. My best friend is a huge horror fan and has been trying to get me into the genre for years. I have anxiety, so every day is a horror movie for me, so I try not to add to that. Yeah, I totally get that. I mean, I was talking earlier about how even though I don't like horror, I've read like every Goosebumps book, which is very strange to think about. Even though, did a Goosebumps book ever scare me as a kid? I really can't. Like, I don't think so. I don't even remember having like nightmares about the books, really. Oh my gosh, I really can't think of anything. No. Yeah, no. They were way more entertaining, and God, I loved Goosebumps. So much fun. And then, even though I'm deathly afraid of like Chuck E. Cheese animatronics, I have played 4 of the FNAF games. So, yeah, that's a whole thing as well. Which I thought would cure, right? Like, oh, I've beaten 4 of the FNAF games. Oh, my fear of Chuck E. Cheese animatronics is probably cured. I've made it through all those. Boom, Chuck E. Cheese animatronic turns its head 90 degrees to look directly at the camera. Shit, shit, shit. Get away, get away. Nope, did not cure my fear at all. Super disappointed to find that out. I do still like those games, though. I was watching, like, you know, like, one of those, like, YouTube... Not compilations, but, like, those YouTube, Oh, what are they called? Where it's like, oh, we're gonna talk about this game for, like, 40 minutes. I was watching one on horror games, like why horror games are like how YouTube affected horror games, and like why horror games nowadays seem to be made like more for kids, like why like FNAF Security Breach is so like child friendly and not scary anymore. And yeah, it's really fascinating, like especially like I think of Hello Neighbor. And just how, like, YouTubers like MatPat just destroyed that game. Not because of what MatPat did, but because he'd, like, figure out some sort of conspiracy theory. And so they'd change the game to, like, to make MatPat, like, wrong or right or whatever. And they just destroyed their own game. It's, like, it's crazy to think about. And similar-ish things happened with Bendy and the Ink Machine and whatnot. It's just really interesting. I tried to play FNAF one time. I think it lasted about 3 minutes. Yeah, I remember hearing the concept of FNAF and being like, oh no, that's not going to be a fun time. But I was just like, everyone was playing it. And so I just got curious. And I think I watched, was it In the Little Woods video? And it was someone Yogscast. I remember. I want to say it was In the Little Wood. And I was like, you know, this is kind of interesting. So then I picked it up and yeah. And then the MatPat stuff came out and I got full into that for... God, that was 8 years ago. Someone pointed out the other day that horses were added to Minecraft 9 years ago. That blows my mind. Honestly, that felt like just... I don't know, like 2 or 3 years ago. But no, 3 years ago was like the Nether update. Wild to think about. Oh, speaking of In the Little Wood, they did the finale for Double Life. Pretty decent, honestly. I was... Okay, I'm not gonna give anything specific away. No, the whole Third Life, Last Life, Double Life series, I'm really glad D&D TikTok put me on that. Because I'm surprised at how good that series is. Specifically the first and third seasons. Last Life, it was okay. But Double and Third Life, so good. Now can I just get a group of people together to do a Double or Third Life? Yeah, actually, I maybe could, but no, I'm not going to. Maybe could. I don't know. I've always talked. I've always talked with my brother about one day doing a Minecraft manhunt. Right, him running and me chasing. Yeah, that'd be fun. One day. D&D TikTok is best TikTok. Yeah, I'm also a big fan of comic book TikTok. Comic book TikTok's also pretty good. But yeah, I see what you mean. There's just so much there, you know, it took me like probably like a year and a half to get into TikTok, but I'm glad I did. There's just so much good original content there. I do hate all the Reddit post stuff. The bots reading the Reddit posts. I'm kind of getting sick of that. But, like, other than that, no, there is a ton of, like, if you can get away from that, there's a ton of good and creative stuff on there. We did all that. You know, I finally got my donut. I could use... Do I have sprinkles? No, I gotta check that. I know I have paint dipped. Citrus splash. Happy birthday. I would think... Oh, yeah, I do have... Do I like sprinkle or sprinkle? Well, you know, let's mess around. Let's get rid of these, actually. Oh, where's the backpack, actually? Since I just got it. Oh, there it is. Oh, oops. Oh, it's right there. And then I don't think we need a bottom. Now we just need a good matching color. Pink, my pink frosted sprinkled donut can beat your taquito. My pink frosted sprinkled donut can beat your... Oh gosh, what other foods did Anthony use over the years? One's okay. Do I have a faceplate to match that? I kind of do, actually. Nah. No. Okay, that's okay. I'm gonna look at faceplates one more time. Nah, I like the blue better. It matches more with the sprinkles. Yeah. Now I truly am the most dedicated donut to ever donut. Oh, I love that everything matches. I really wish there was a costume that was donut head. Like, you know how there's Big Edis. Where is it? I think I have Big Edis. I think it's up at the top. Oh, right there. Yeah, Big Edis. This, but a donut, like a donut head. Right? Wherein it's literally got the hole. Not like the hole is the faceplate, but it's got like a hole in the middle. Ah, that would be such a good costume. I'm thinking of Donut Homer from the Treehouse of Horror episode. Oh, I'm 3 away from unlocking the bottom of Mechagodzilla. Next week. Next week we will have this. Oh my gosh, it's so close. Yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm also getting pretty close to this. Just 3 away. Yeah, that's our little dedicated donut boy. And technically we've got another 1,000. If we can just hug more people, we can get 1,000 more. Yeah, I think that's all I've got for tonight. Yeah, we've been going for 3 hours. We will be back. I'll probably be back. Oh, will I be back Tuesday? Oh, sugar snap peas. maybe I'll be back Tuesday. I'm gonna try to be back Tuesday. And we'll start the Bug Snacks DLC. Because we still have to play the Isle of Big Snacks. So that's the next thing we have to do. So we'll start that. And then hopefully we'll beat that right. It'll probably take, it'll either take 1 or 2 streams, I don't know. But we'll finish that off. And then we have one more, and then we'll do in chat, which I might do on Saturday or on Friday. Either that or I'll do it on Sunday. I don't know. We'll see how the news goes, because that's the way the news goes. And then, I'm actually probably gonna take a. I don't want to, but I'm probably in early August. I'm probably gonna take a break for a little bit. Probably the first month of August. I'm probably gonna take a break. We'll still do in chats on Saturdays. That will probably be the one consistency. Other than that, I'm probably gonna take August off, and hopefully we'll start off in September. Right, we'll get back to normal. But other than in chat, which after we finish Fall Guys, I'll probably switch over to like Minecraft or something. And yeah, I'll switch over. Yeah, so that's the plan at the moment. I know there's so much I could do. There's so many games I want to play, but I'm gonna have to take a little break. God, I wanted to do so much more this summer, and it just didn't happen. We instead got stuck with Pokemon for 30 hours long. 30 hours. Yeah. At least we failed the Nuzlocke an hour in. Oh god. Remember when I wanted to do one highlight video a week? Stream highlight? Oh, I was so idealistic. I'm the worst. I'm the worst. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, that's where we're gonna end off. So I hope you all enjoyed. Have a good night. Till next time. Peace.